Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is August 4th, 2023, and the big news today, Donald Trump, and what a bad day it was for him to have to be in court, and how we might be looking at, a year of him in court with a legal battle as he's the front runner for the Republican Party challenging Joe Biden. And again, his day in court yesterday, August 3rd, as we'll again cover why it was that day. And now today, the day after, August 4th, again, this is the huge focus, all the news talking about it, and it's Barack Obama's birthday, right? Barack Obama's birthday. Trump replaced Obama. Trump, part of the birther thing that came with Obama's presidency. But it went Obama, it went Trump, and then it went back to Obama's VP, Joe Biden. And again, we're going to look at what a perfect ritual this is being performed on the American people. Again, getting people into this political theater to divide the populace over the red and blue. Notice how in the photo as Trump descends, he's in a blue suit, white shirt, red tie, the American flag colors, the nation not doing well, the symbolism everywhere. Today, Wells Fargo, direct deposits getting lost for its customers. We'll talk about all of this, but Trump's birthday is the U.S. flag's birthday, June 14th. Donald Trump has the same birthday as the U.S. flag. This country founded 1776. The flag founded the year after, 1777. Trump just turned 77 years old. He's in court in D.C. on the 77th parallel shortly after his 77th birthday. And remember, Donald Trump was part of September 11th. He talked about the events of that day, the day of, because his insurance company was in the World Trade Centers. He was one of the big interviews, big celebrities to weigh in on 9/11 the day it happened. But don't forget how tied 77 was to September 11th as well. Major U.S. tragedy. Again, Flight 77 supposedly hit the 77-foot tall Pentagon on the 77th meridian, 77 minutes after taking off. Anyway, we'll bring all this together because they got Trump walking down a flight of stairs from a plane. So, again, you have to realize the symbolism that the people who give us these shots and these stories in ritualistic format day after day, looking for our hearts and minds and to pull us into their narratives. Everything they do is very clever. CNN changed this to the photo at 9 a.m. Pacific time, which is noon Eastern time. They're out in Atlanta, Georgia, East Coast, like DC. But the photo changed right at midday. After we get done talking about this right here, we're going to go back and look at why the photo began this morning. This was the story all morning, with Trump holding the umbrella. It's an important detail, and most people just don't have a clue, but we're going to bring it all together. And as I was about to go live, you just had the death of a Hollywood actor at age 83. Yesterday, they put a serial killer to death on 8/3. Of course, Charles Manson put to death in the big 83 ritual at age 83. The song Murder by Numbers in 1983. 83, special number, and it's also a number that relates to Donald Trump and the upcoming election. And again, like we've always talked about, when the media puts emphasis on a word, parentheses around a word, they're letting you know there's something more to that word. It might be the focus of the headline. Sometimes it's really awkward what they choose. But what we realized from looking at this for over a decade now, there's numbers behind those words that are so relevant. And again, as we were talking about before Trump even arrived in court on August 3rd, why that date mattered so much. And again, this story is all about the upcoming election. Notice how in Gematria, if you're new here, Gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words, super simple. A, B, C is 1, 2, 3, up to Z, the 26th letter is 26. If you spell out the word election, it equals 83. Notice CNN is saying that Trump wants the Supreme Court to intercede in that same cipher, intercede 83. Again, after the day in court, 8-3. Notice also, again, when I write back election, it's 83 with the alphabetic order, 38 with the alphabetic order and numerology. So 8338. The date August 3rd can be written 83 or 38. DC's on the 38th parallel. This number 38 is significant to what we're talking about because this whole thing of coding numbers into words comes from Kabbalah, which has gematria of 38. It's considered Jewish mysticism. The word Jew itself has the gematria of 38. So, August 3rd, the day Trump's in court in D.C. on the 38th parallel. We were just talking about the Pentagon and what happened to that building. Pentagon, for the record, is another word with the gematria 38. And one of the deadliest and most unnecessary wars the Pentagon's responsible for sent the first troops into Vietnam on March 8th, 38. Again, significant number. It's a number that's tied to this election. It's also a number that's tied to uglier things, like the reason the song Murder by Numbers came out in 83. Murder's 83. Putting murderers to death on 8-3, as we just talked about. But anyway, intercede is the word. 8-3. Like election, like the nickname, they called Donald Trump the Donald. 83. And also 38. And if you just drop the and take his actual first name, Donald, notice how it has the gematria of 50, just like America is 50. 50 states plus territories. In gematria, Washington also equals 50. The four ciphers that you want to know of the English language are the alphabetic order with numerology, the reverse alphabetic order, and the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. Washington, America, Donald, they're all 50, right? Look at United States, gematria of 77. Yesterday, the day Trump appeared in court, was 50 days after his birthday, so he's in Washington, the U.S. Capitol, 50 days after his 77th birthday. In the same cipher where Washington is 50, United States is 77. Washington on the 77th meridian. Trump in Washington. Again, 50 days after his 77th birthday. We're always talking about how this is connected to the Pope. The Pope. From the Pope's birthday to Trump in court yesterday was 229 days, the 50th prime number. Numbers that we see come together all the time. 229, the 50th prime. Again, the Pope, the Catholic Pope. We're on the calendar named after the Catholic Pope, the Gregorian calendar. That's why the day we call it and the year we call it, that's because of the Catholic Church and the Catholic Pope. And again, we have a 52-week calendar synced with the Pope. The word Pope is 52. So again and again, these rituals perfect. We have the first Jesuit Pope right now. The first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis, Donald Trump, Jesuit educated at Fordham, Joe Biden from the Jesuit town of Scranton, Pennsylvania. But when Trump was at the Vatican with the Pope, he was posing with the Pope on the 144th day of the year. And again, Trump, the Jesuits, 144, JFK, dead 144 days from meeting with the Pope. Robert Kennedy, dead at 1:44 a.m. Fateful number as well. We're going to talk more about why that matters in light of what it seems that something could be being foreshadowed. And, okay, let's make sure we got everything about, again, August 3rd, why Trump was in court that day, 50 days after his 77th birthday, 229 days after the Pope's. And, oh yeah, of course, he's going to be in court at age 77. He's going to be in court at age 77. This is the storyline, right? You see how court is 77 forwards, 58 when you run it in reverse. Again, Trump won the 58th election after announcing from the 58-story Trump Tower. Court's also 23, like how here we are in 2023. And remember how we were talking about back when this happened in New York, we were talking about how it was synced up with the filming of the Joker movie, and we already knew that the last Joker movie was released in tribute to Trump, and who refers to himself as Batman. But Trump's in court in New York a week after they filmed the latest Joker scenes in that same courtroom in New York. For the record, Donald's also 23, like Court, like Joker. But we talked about then how it seemed to be synced up with the NBA season and how we'd seen Trump in sports championships. And the next thing you know, Nikola Jokic, the Joker's winning the NBA Finals over Miami. And then Trump's in trouble in Miami and having to go down to court in Miami as those finals end. And again, Miami and New York. Miami went through New York in the NBA playoffs. New York was the last 8 seed to make it to the NBA Finals until Miami did that this year. The 2 8 seeds, Trump and court in New York and Miami, synced up with the NBA season. And again, if you guys are new here, I'm showing this stuff year after year, how all of the sports and news are all scripted together and controlled by this Jesuit cabal. But they even had to tell you after the Nuggets won the finals with Nikola Jokic, Joker, that they put out the image of him at age 5 from 23 years earlier of him as a little boy, age 5, wearing a Denver Nuggets sweatshirt and standing next to another little boy holding up a tennis racket because, again, he's from Serbia like the other Joker in tennis, Djokovic. And remember, Nikola Jokic went to the finals, advanced to the finals on the tennis star's birthday, the other Joker. And then, remember, the Nuggets scored 104 points in the first win of the NBA Finals. French Open's 104. And then Joker in tennis got his 23rd Masters Grand Slam win in tennis. And he won it the day before Joker won the NBA Finals on number 41's birthday as the 41st pick of the draft, outscoring Miami by 41 points in the series. And again, there's more to all of this. We'll come back to that point about 41 if I remember. But anyway, how all of this stuff is synced up. People are emotionally invested in the sports. They're emotionally invested in the elections. They're sucked into all this theater, political theater, sports theater. Again, go back and watch the videos we've been doing and all the things we've been pointing out and how things just continue to line up. But anyway, about that thing about the 2 8 seeds. The 2 8 seeds, Miami and New York. Trump from New York spends a lot of time in Florida. The 2 8 seeds. Remember how Trump equals 88? And remember the day of the Mar-a-Lago raid, August 8th, right? And all this stuff, all these now court things are coming out of this. Oh, that just tipped it up. He already had all these other questionable things. Now he's taking, secret files. The Mar-a-Lago raid on 8/8, right? Trump 88. See how it all goes together? It's all, the whole game is numbers and dates and doing it day by day on the calendar. The next move on the chessboard, the next story to, lock in the mind's eye of the masses. So anyway, Donald Trump, and I guess just here to make a point, Donald Trump date of birth, in case you didn't know, June 14th, U.S. flag's birthday, June 14th, like I said, 1777. Trump's 77 right now. Red, white, and blue on the flag. Trump marching down the stairs. Red, white, and blue. Looking depressed. The photo they put out, at least. And from June 14th to his day in court, August 3rd. June 14th, 2023 to August 3rd. He was in court yesterday. 50 days later. Again, Donald, 50. America, 50. Washington, 50. And DC's coordinates, 38th parallel north, 77th meridian west, right? Election. We were just talking about the words that fit in with the 38. And again, CNN, you turn on right now, the other news networks, they're saying the same thing. This could be what the election looks like, and like they're saying on CNN, this isn't going to change anything about Donald Trump's base. It's probably only going to strengthen it. I mean, it's just, it's such an obvious, it's just, again, it's crazy how we're controlled through stories so easily that are just told from the authorities. Maybe it's because as children we learn to love stories, right? Storybooks, story hour. It's like our favorite thing as children. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just, I think like somehow we learn to love the story, and the people who rule over us, they know we're just so easily controlled by stories. This one was written by God through men 2,000 years ago right here. It's the one you really got to believe in. Okay. yeah, so I think we've answered why, this is why CNN's headline right now, and it fits in too. As I'm about to go live and talk about this, then Mark Margolis, the actor, drops dead at age 83. We'll look more at that. That news broke right as I was about to go live, but I thought, how funny. Now they got the Donald up there and the Better Call Saul, a lawyer, right? Legal troubles. Trump's lawyers. He's got armies of lawyers. Okay. And again, on Obama's birthday, right? Trump's bad day on Obama's birthday. Remember how they made a big deal about what it looked like when Obama and Michelle left the White House, how they looked real together. But then when Melania and Trump came, they looked very disoriented and off. The media made a big deal about that the first day. So I'm going to come back and talk about why they got to show you a Wells Fargo with a 185 on the window. Here, just to give you a little start on that, this stuff's not an accident, you guys. Donald John Trump. Everything's coordinated every day if you just pay attention. They're not putting numbers out there arbitrarily. Wells Fargo. It's just 185 is way bigger than Donald Trump, though. We'll come back to it. Okay, this right here. The first picture they use all morning. Trump under the umbrella on 8/4. Now, think about how many times we've talked about the umbrella as a symbol of the Jesuits, because what it symbolizes is the Jesuits, their tactic is to infiltrate things that are opposition and then tear it down from within. Again, the Jesuits were created to stop the Protestant Reformation against the Catholic Church back in the 16th century. And that was the tactic they used then. Sneak in and then destroy what they wanted to destroy from within. Again, to stop the movement that was against what they represent, the Catholic Church. So who's to say that tactic wasn't learned real well and, used to take down this nation? And let's say it's been taken down for a long time. But the trick is to not let it be known that it's been taken down and hijacked and now being used for other means, but just to keep the show running and keep people believing in the story that they were told about America, the freest people who got away from the tyranny of Europe. See, that whole part of it, we understood that the founders were trying to get away from European systems and what was going on over there and rulership under authorities and kings. But if you actually look into it more specifically, what was ruling over Europe at that time was the Catholic Church, and that's why a lot of the founders were aware of things like nefarious secret societies, and we talked about how Jefferson and Adams have the letter going back and forth about their concern for the Jesuit suppression being near ending, which is something that happened around the time of the establishment of this country. And lo and behold, they both die together on the same day, on 7/4. When we know how important that number is to this whole Jesuit Catholic, Society of Jesus cabal. But again, the umbrella symbolizes infiltrating from within, because it's the only way it can be taken down. You take down an umbrella from the stem on the inside. So that's why it's symbolic of that, plus in Gematria, and here we are in 8/4, right? And we've talked about this so many times. In the most simple cipher, umbrella is 84, just like Jesuit, 84. This nation, the U.S., has had diplomatic relations with the Vatican since 1984. Anthony Fauci, the Jesuit, the head of NIH from 1984, the year George Orwell warned about. And, United States of America has the gematria of 84, also 132. Because look at when I write out umbrella, 84, 132. 132 rooms in the White House. From the establishment of the Illuminati, May 1st, 1776, to the naming of the United States of America, September 9th, is a span of 132 days. Again, the Illuminati is founded by Jesuit-trained Adam Weishaupt. The Jesuits represent the Roman Catholic Church. Roman Catholic 132, Catholic Church 132. And notice how Antonin Scalia, he was the first Roman Catholic justice. You see how Antonin Scalia is 132 and 219? Again, look at Roman Catholic, 132, 219. Antonin Scalia died on February 13th, unexpectedly. They said he was on the ranch near where Dick Cheney was shot. If you remember, or where Dick Cheney shot his lawyer friend, that is. If you remember that story back when he was vice president. Dick and Bush, the jokes are always on us, and people don't even get it. But Antonin Scalia was the first Roman Catholic Supreme Court justice. He was appointed after Reagan took office in 84. Well, where Reagan won re-election in 84. Ronald Reagan had Make America Great Again like Trump. But anyhow, Antonin Scalia died on 13/2, and then his body laid in repose at the Supreme Court on February 19th, 219. Dead on 13/2, Roman Catholic 132. Body in repose, 219. The man in the White House at the time was number 44, Obama. February 13th is the 44th day of the year. And February 13th is also the start date of Lupercalia, which leads up to Valentine's Day. Notice how Lupercalia is 44. It's an ancient Roman festival having to do with sacrifice. And Lupercalia is 44 and 64, like the word hope. Obama ran on hope as number 44, 44 years after the Civil Rights Act of 64. And Barack Hussein Obama is also 64. And they gave us Barack Obama after a decade of fear-mongering about Saddam Hussein and Osama. Jokes, and we're not getting them. They're not registering. We're just marching along and not seeing the obvious, that we're being lied to, duped, played with, manipulated. But, the umbrella symbolizes, again, the way the Jesuits operate. And as we've talked about so many times, again, just the 84 connection. Now, for this to be the front page on 8/4 on Obama's birthday. And for the record, if you write out the Jesuit order, you spell it out like that, it's also 84. If you write out the Catholic Church, it's also 84. Diplomatic relations with the United States and the Vatican since 84. And that's according to the Catholic Church's time schedule, with all the Roman architecture over D.C. As we talk about all these, Jesuit-connected men in high places in Washington, D.C. now, where, again, the federal government didn't start. It started in Philly. It might have been authentic when they tried to start it in Philly. I don't know. I got questions, though. 56 signers. But when they moved it to D.C., for sure, the takeover was underway, because D.C. was the Jesuit stronghold, where Georgetown is, where Antonin Scalia went to school, also a Jesuit. So anyhow, Obama turned 62 today, and here's where this gets more interesting. Here's what I just wonder about, because I've been talking about all these things for so long. When I first learned Gematria, it stood out to me right away that Barack Obama. Oh yeah, I was just meant. You see 229. I forgot that Obama had the 229 connection. 229 is the 50th prime number. So yesterday, Trump's in court 229 days after the Pope's birthday. By the way, Pope Francis, first Jesuit Pope, his birth numerology, 12 plus 17 plus 19 plus 36. He's born December 17th, 1936. So 12 plus 17 plus 19 plus 36 is 84. The founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius of Loyola, we just passed his death anniversary, July 31st, which is 84 days from his birthday. But anyway, Trump was in court yesterday, the day before Obama's birthday, 229 days after the Pope's age, 50th prime. So Barack Obama has the mathematical connection back to 50, which was, and yesterday, again, Trump in court 50 days after his own birthday. But the thing that always stood out to me, Barack Obama, 68. MLK in 1968 killed on 4/4. Malcolm X also killed on a date with 44 numerology years earlier. And by the way, the only time Malcolm X and MLK ever met each other was March 26th, 26/3, 263, the 56th prime. For the record, that's Nancy Pelosi's birthday as well. And her name's also 56, like Washington, D.C., like Society of Jesus, the formal title of the Jesuits. But Black Lives Matter, also 56. They painted Black Lives Matter in D.C. on the 5th day of the 6th month, the 5th of June. But, for the record, George Floyd was the reflection, 65, and it was in tribute to George Floyd. June 5th can also be 6-5. But I realize I spelled George backwards, but still, same letters. Obama, just going back to Obama, he won the 56th presidential election. And he spoke in the land of Lincoln. And Lincoln was killed at age 56. He gave the acceptance speech in Illinois, the land of Lincoln. Lincoln killed at age 56. And Lincoln blamed the Civil War on the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits. Funny enough, Michelle Obama's favorite team is the Chicago Cubs. They're on 56 wins today, coming into Obama's birthday. And Obama's favorite team is the White Sox, and they come in today with 43 wins. They have a potential to get an upset and get their 44th win on number 44's birthday. The tricky thing about that is Obama was number 44, but he was the 43rd person to be president. So you could see the transition from 43 to 44 in the upset. The only thing that makes me think twice about it today, if you're one of those gambler types, the only thing that worries me about the White Sox is they can also get their 68th loss today. So I'm like, look how they have that. So you can get them 44, the 44th win for number 44's birthday. That just seems more true to the numbers. But there's a little threat of that 43-68. So anyway, again, the point is it's not an accident that the baseball games are lined up like that today with the two Chicago teams of the two respective Obamas. And okay, so again, here's the point that needs to be made. The 44 connection. Obama was number 44. Donald Trump was number 45, but the 44th person to be president. And again, the reason that the count's off is because Grover Cleveland had a split term. Grover Cleveland occupied two presidential numbers because there was a president between his two terms, split term. And so it messed up the count. So that's why, for example, again, Obama was the 43rd person to be president, but number 44. And then Trump followed him, the 44th person to be president, but number 45. And then now you have Joe Biden, whose name is 44. And remember, this number is super fateful for presidents. The first ever president to die in office died on April 4th, the same day MLK was assassinated. That was William Henry Harrison. He died April 4th, first U.S. president to die in office. The last president to die in office was JFK, who was the 44th term president. He was number 35. Catholic equals 35, but some term presidents had two terms or more than one term, so it made JFK the 44th term president. And again, he was number 35, killed at age 46. The Catholic numbers, Joe Biden's number 46, elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, inaugurated on the Pope's 35th day of his age. But that's his connection to 44. And then, you have this story today while, Biden's in office. There's rumors Michelle might end up running, and Trump's trying to, seek re-election. So there's a relationship with 44 and 84. The numbers that divide into 44, if you add them together, they sum to 84. There's a relationship with numbers 44 and 84. And then think about it. Obama, number 44, his birthday is 84, right? So 44, 84, this ongoing saga, right? Antonin Scalia dies on the 44th day of the year. Remember, they said he was with his secret society buddies hunting on the ranch near where Dick Cheney shot his lawyer friend. Just ranch has the gematria 44, just like words like kill, execution. 44 is this number that's connected to death. Shooting, 44. Gunfire, 44. Military, 44. Soldier, 44. Trooper, 44. Officer. All these military type words. Okay, 44, strong connection to death throughout history. And again, the presidential office, as we just brought up the examples with 4-4 and well beyond that, MLK on 4-4 and so many more killed in connection to that number. But for Antonin Scalia, it was the 44th day of the year and the time of number 44. And then that set up a legal battle in the courts to get a 9th Supreme Court justice in. And remember, the Republicans stopped the Democrats for doing it. But then as soon as Trump took office. They got Neil Gorsuch in there real fast. And for the record, Neil Gorsuch, 58, to go with Trump winning the 58th election. And Neil McGill Gorsuch, his full name, 88, just like Trump, like Judge. And 187, look at 187 and 88. Speaking of George Washington, who the city's named after, right? Then Washington, D.C. is 187, and Society of Jesus is 187, and Trump had his GOP convention on 18/7, a span of 187 days from Inauguration Day. And anyway, just Judge 88, Trump 88, Gavel 88, Mar-a-Lago raid on 88, first Supreme Court Justice in, Mr. 88. So, again, but just to remind how this whole show's connected. Antonin Scalia dies, legal battle, Democrats can't get a Supreme Court Justice, Trump gets it in right away, Trump puts in a whole lot of judges. In fact, Trump put in the most federal judges, because there's other federal courts, in a single term than any president. And again, Trump's name is 884725, like Judge is 884725. Again, just the jokes, the characters playing the part, the narratives that get connected to their presidency. So that's one of the things Trump would go in the history books for. He appointed more federal judges than any president in a single term. And now he's the one who keeps getting impeached and in the courtroom. And just, again, this is all part of a storyline. Just like if you were watching a movie, you'd be like, this is an interesting movie. He appoints all those judges, and then he's the one that ends up in the courtroom. I mean, this is like a Hollywood script, and it is. And just like how they insert the numbers in the Hollywood movie, they do it with your federal news story movie that unfolds. You know, oh, wow, what a bad day for Trump on Obama's birthday. Well, I mean, you couldn't have scripted it any better. He looks so defeated. Is he going to make it? Meanwhile, Joe Biden's flying around in the wind like a kite somewhere right now. It's just that all this stuff is such a joke. So anyway, 44, number related to death. Barack Obama. Look at all these 68s, right? Because we had these major political assassinations in 1968. MLK, RFK, who was running for president. Barack Obama, 68, right? Rumors Michelle might run now. Donald John Trump, 68. Remember, CIA, 68. Remember, Catholicism, 68, also 185. Remember how we just, Donald John Trump's got the 68, 185. Wells Fargo, they got to have the 185 up here. We're having mathematical problems. Deposits just not showing up. People's bank accounts as they want to move everything electronic. Big Al was just telling me the other day that a regional bank got bought up by a bigger bank from Pennsylvania, and then right after, the 201st day of the year FedNow launch, the very next day, in all the years he's been with the bank, they had this major glitch that lasted all throughout the weekend, and nobody could get any cash out of ATMs. And he's going, okay, is this some kind of weird coincidence, or is this like part of the big sick joke? Is they get us thinking more about digital money? I mean, isn't that when people are going to the ATM to get cash for the weekend? Can't get any cash out of the ATM all weekend. Never happened before. Just the day after the Fed shows that they're really getting into digital currency. Again, you guys, this is the problem. This is like I've been saying the whole time. The reason people need to wake up and stand up and fight back and do something and be about more than just their job and stop making excuses that I can't stand for the right thing because I got to work every day and make sure I keep... I get that everyone has to stay up with the treadmill of life, but at the same time, like I said, if you don't take a day to get off the treadmill and try to stop what's going on, the treadmill is going to keep going and it's going to get worse and worse, and they're going to play with us more and more and F us harder and harder. And here it is now, midway through 2023. As they're going to take us into the most divisive political stretch ever. And what they do impacts the people, because the people start living with this energy and these frustrations, and they can't believe this, and they're outraged about that, and they don't realize they're getting played for fools. Yeah, there's a lot to be outraged about. The world is messed up, but you're putting all your hope and energy into the wrong things, where you should be looking at what you can do to stop the mess. Not, I can't wait to vote for this guy or vote against that guy. I mean, that's just not what it is. So, somebody keeps calling over and over. For the person calling over and over, I will take your call. I didn't even mean to have the line open right now, but save the call. Okay. Yeah, I want to make the point about 68 too. What these numbers are about. Catholicism 68, right? The word mathematics 68. Solar system, okay? Think about it. Solar system 68. Like I've shown many times, in the 16th century, after the Jesuits were created, we get English standardized with the 26-letter alphabet. The Gregorian calendar based on the movements of the sun. You know, the Romans and the Greeks called the sun Helios, which is another 68. Again, if you don't know about my work in 1968, major year 68. Not only those political assassinations, but 911 made the National Emergency Dialing Code. World Trade Center construction began. 9/11, World Trade Centers. Boeing debuted their jumbo jetliners. Founder of Boeing went to Yale. Skull and Bones like Bush, the president at the time, who graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones in 68. And by the way, Seattle, Washington, where Boeing is, where Magnuson Klemenkic is, who helped build the World Trade Centers, the 68 city, the city by the sea. And just for the record, the word terror is 68, also 94. The World Trade Centers opened on the 94th day of 1973. World Trade Center also equals 94. Roman Catholic Church, 94. Another huge pattern. Vatican's 9/11 and Jewish gematria. Anyway, these are the people that are controlling our calendar and time, and at all time is dictated by the sun relative to Earth. It's all mathematically connected. Yesterday when I was writing the book, I took it so much further than I ever have with the Moses and Kobe thing. I've been talking about that since it happened. But I was talking about Moses Malone and Kobe the day before Kobe died. But, man, I realized some things yesterday that I've just been overlooking the whole time, you guys. By the way, all this stuff, again, it's all biblical. Exodus 4:1 is where the story begins of Moses doubting God. Remember, Moses Malone equals 41, Kobe Bryant equals 41, Kobe dead at age 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age while traveling from Catholic Mass. Exodus 4:1 is where the story begins again of Moses doubting God. So God changes Moses' staff into a snake, like how they called Kobe the Black Mamba. And again, LeBron passed Kobe in points scored the day before Kobe died in Kobe's hometown Philly, where black snakes were on the court. Snake, serpent. Serpent symbolizes Satan. Satan falls from the sky when he comes to earth. And Kobe supposedly fell from the sky in a helicopter, and the movie Angel Has Fallen came out the day of his birthday. August 23rd, 2019, his last birthday, Angels Fallen came out. Kobe dies in the city of Angels. He's from Philadelphia, where the letter's written to the Church of the Synagogue of Satan in the Bible. About Moses and Kobe. Remember, Moses Malone died at age 60. Kobe scored 60 in his last game against the Jazz, who drafted Moses Malone, the first drafted player out of high school for the NBA. Like, that was Kobe's legacy as well. And then Moses Malone won the finals over the Lakers 4-0 in 83, the year Kobe turned 5. The 5 books of Moses begin the Bible. Exodus is the second book. Basketball 5-on-5. Moses Malone born in 55, Satan 55. But the name Moses equals 60. And the 1983 NBA Finals, the year Kobe turned 5, began 60 days after Moses Malone's birthday, and they ended 281 days after Kobe's birthday, which is the 60th prime. Holy equals 60, like Moses, like the N-word. It's crazy the way... Or hold on, you guys. Not Moses isn't 60. I take it back. It's Malone. It's his surname. Malone is 60. I was saying Moses, but it's Malone. Moses Malone. And then, of course, Karl Malone would be the great for the Jazz. Moses Malone drafted, but anyway, it's all biblical. And we've always known that. But I couldn't believe I was missing the whole thing with Moses. Because remember, Moses Malone died on the last day of Elul on the Hebrew calendar. And in the Bible, Moses goes to Mount Sinai in the month of Elul. And so Moses Malone died on the last day of the Jewish month Elul. And again, he died 213 days before Kobe's last game in the 213 area code. I know I got transgendered with this, but we're talking about the Catholic Church and mathematics and what they're doing. Again, I'm making a point about this. By the way, this year's NBA season, basketball is also 68, like how they got 68 teams in the March Madness tournament now, which again, the first March Madness was the Catholic school over the Jesuit school, Villanova over Georgetown. But if they put out the NBA schedule on August 17th again this year, it's going to be 68 days before the season begins on the day, leaving 68 days left in the year. And start looking at these NBA stars. You'll be blown away by how many went to Catholic high schools or Jesuit college programs. You'll be absolutely floored. Don't forget, Kobe died on his 157th day of his age, while LaSalle was 157 in age and 157 years, and that's where his father went to school, Catholic. But, yeah, Moses Malone in 83. Helicopter crash equals 83. Bear Bryant died on January 26th. The same day Kobe died on in 83, the football great coach. All those things in 83. Kobe dies at age 41 on the Pope's 41st day of being 83 years old. So again, Moses Malone, Philly over LA in 83, 4-0, swept him. Yeah. Again, Exodus 4 is where the story begins of Moses' staff turning into a snake. And something else about that too is Moses is in Jordan when he sees the promised land. And we all know about Kobe and Jordan. And Kobe playing his last game. Or not Kobe, but Kobe from Philly and Jordan played his last game in Philly. But yeah, biblical. Biblical. Sports. Politics. Like I was saying earlier, what they're doing with the Chicago baseball games today on Obama's birthday. Okay, so coming back to this. We're talking about how all these presidents right now that are part of this narrative have this 44 connection that's fateful. It's connected to death. The word shooting's 44. MLK, when he was killed on 4/4, the nation's first major gun control legislation came 201 days later. And remember, RFK was killed that year too. And from RFK's death to the first major gun control legislation was 139 days later. Gun control 139. The last major weapons ban in this country happened on September 13th in the 90s, led by Joe Biden. 13/9, led by Joe Biden, who again is Mr. 44. And we're talking about these numbers all the time when we talk about these huge televised mass shootings where the politicians really get on and say, enough's enough, it's time to do something and stop this and get the guns out of Americans' hands. I mean, you know, that's going on every time. Some people are getting sucked into that theater. Oh my God, this happened on the screen again. Sure, they didn't show me any proof or evidence, and all I heard was nothing but a bunch of stories from some people that look like really bad actors, but man. Anyway. Could we be looking at that? Because we have a Kennedy. And remember what I showed you. I showed you when RFK came in the race, RFK Jr., how the day that he came in paid tribute to these Jesuits and the assassinations of... Here, let's just go back and look at the RFK post too, right? Let's go back and look. RFK Jr. And don't get me wrong, I like RFK Jr.'s message. He's mostly on point about everything, but I see that he's part of this theater. And he's here to give hope for the hopeless. And he's doing the rituals too. That's right. Him and Del Bigtree. Bigtree, like Big Kabbalah Tree. They led the anti-lockdown, anti-jab marches on Georgetown's birthday of all days. Oh man. I was hoping this would sort by most recent here. Facebook censored somebody for sharing a RFK Jr. post. Yeah, that's funny. All right, here, let's go back. This is what I want to pull up. So RFK Jr., let's just go through it. He filed papers to run for president April 5th. And that date can be written 4-5 or 5-4. His father was killed at the Ambassador Hotel, which is 54. Dealey Plaza is 45. Of course, Jesuit Orders 54. IHS is 45. And he did it 78 days after his birthday. Kennedy and Jesuit are 78. JFK coined the term Jesuit Ivy. So this also happened 144 days after the Superior General's birthday, Arturo Sosa, the leader of the Jesuits. Again, just like Trump, the Jesuit at the Vatican on the 144th day of the year. Again, JFK dead 144 days from meeting with the Pope. RFK dead at 1:44 in the morning. Lincoln shot on 14/4 and so on. 144 days, right? So it's like they're putting all these pieces of the puzzle. All these guys who are front and center for the election with the 44s on them. Again, JFK was the 44th term president. And then a Kennedy, who's directly related. The son of RFK. This is RFK Jr. He's running and doing it by the numbers. And the same numbers that are connected to his dead family members. You know. And see, like my mom, she's halfway awake, but then you start to show something like this, she just ignores it. No, she just starts even like making noise. No, RFK's good. And it's just, so you just see it. It's like, well, you're no really different than anybody else who's just like programmed by something. There's a lot of people that take gematria, but then when it applies to, like, it shines a light on how fraudulent their religion is, or their Republican Party, or their favorite news station, then they don't want to hear it anymore. And there's been a lot of people like that who've come across this work. I used to listen to Zach, but he's wrong about Trump. He's wrong about the Republicans. He's wrong about Jesus. Am I? Because I'm proving my point every day. You guys aren't bringing anything besides just your cognitive dissonance. I'm proving my point in spades every day. So, anyway, this is everything I'm seeing. How they're bringing all these numbers together. How nicely they got it all lined up. And, yeah, again, I think Bill Maher's remark, because Bill Maher, right after the January 6th insurrection, the huge staged Jesuit ritual that was, where Georgetown was all boarded up in advance. Bill Maher, he said after that insurrection, this is the 93 World Trade Center bombing. Trump will lead us to the next 9/11, and that'll come in the next election cycle. So, remember the girl with the crazy, weird spelled name, like Ashley, a really weird way. Her name's escaping my mind right now. The woman who was I think Ashley Babbitt, killed under the 201 sign. As I say that, I got to pull it up. How did she spell her name? It was spelled so weird. Was it ASHLII? Ashley Babbitt. Okay. Where she was shot trying to go through that window. You see how her name's also got the 84 and 42 like Jesuit? Her name also has the 219 like Roman Catholic, 105 like Masonry, like Order of Illuminati. But anyhow, supposedly she was killed, and it was under the sign, if you go back and look at the clip, you'll see that whatever words are above that door, the words that are assigned for that door, 201, right? And if I didn't talk about 201 in this, again, 201 huge. Joe Biden sacrificed Beau Biden 201 days before the Pope's birthday. The first Pope to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. This super huge important number to the Jesuits. And we talked about 68, right? Now the CIA has the 68 acronym, the Catholics in Action. Again, the words in their logo, Central Intelligence Agency, United States of America, is 201. The CIA was founded on the Pope's 201st day of his age, September 18th, 47. Catholic Pope 201. The Jesuit Order 201. The Pope right now, who's the first Jesuit Pope, the first living Suite 201, his birth name is Jorge Mario Bergoglio. 201. The founder of the Jesuits is Ignatius Loyola, 201. Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan, that's the Jesuit priest who did the funeral for Beau Biden, who died 201 days before the Pope's birthday, and he also did the inauguration for Joe Biden on January 20th, 20/1, the 201st day of the nation's age. That's why they put these puppets in on this special 201 day, inauguration day. And again, it's why Trump was burying his ex-wife last year on the 201st day of the year, 45 years after their marriage. His ex-wife, 45 years after their marriage, number 45. And again, IHS, the Jesuit acronym's 45. Berlin Wall, 45. Donald Trump called his president-elect in the early hours of November 9th, the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. Him and Mike Pence, 45 forwards and backwards, the winners. But and let's not forget the sick joke the other year on Obama's birthday. In the leap year, 2020, it makes August 4th, Obama's birthday. It makes it Michelle's 201st day of her age in leap years. And remember the Beirut barracks bombing? Or the there was the Beirut barracks bombing in history, which was connected to the U.S. and France, like the Jesuits are from France, and alive and well, very much in the U.S. But you had the barracks bombing in Beirut, and then on Barack's birthday, 8/4, you had the Beirut mega explosion that they blamed on fireworks, when the Jesuits are known for using fireworks to try to blow up British Parliament on Guy Fawkes Day. And think about this nation's birthday and what we do. We shoot off fireworks in this Jesuit stronghold. 7/4, right? Again, Roman 74, Roman Catholic Church 74. Roman 74, Holy Roman Empire is the 74. And of course, Jesus is 74, Jesus Christ is 74, George Washington is 74. He was a Mason, Masonic 74, like a cult. Again, Jesus 74, Cross 74, Messiah 74, Gospel 74, Parables 74, this Christian English-speaking nation, Holiday 74, English 74, the practice of coding numbers into words, Gematria 74, it's a Jewish practice 74. The Jesuits are a Jewish Catholic alliance that came about from the Protestant Reformation that targeted both those faiths and spiritual systems. Again, they called the election for Joe Biden at 74 million votes. And not an accident, just all part of the joke. DC is known as the Masonic City. Yeah, I was just talking about Moses Malone and Exodus. Exodus has that 74. Moses Malone was drafted into pro basketball in 74. Kobe died in the 74th NBA season. You see how Crucify is 40 and 41? Again, Kobe died on the Pope's 41st day of his age, or you could also say 40 days after his birthday. Moses Malone won those finals that were connected in 83 4-0, and he's remembered for his famous quote, "Fo, fo, fo," to win it in 4 games over the Lakers, which was a big statement because they were the Lakers. But Exodus is 40 chapters, right? Old Testament has that gematria 40, if I can spell right. Old Testament 40, United States 40, 40 all over the Bible, 40 days and 40 nights, 40 days in the wilderness, etc. But don't forget, in Jewish gematria, United States of America equals 929, and that's how many chapters are in the Old Testament. So United States, 40. In Jewish gematria, United States of America, 929. 929 chapters in the Old Testament. Again, Old Testament, 40. Also, 40 is a weird word. When you spell out 40, you drop the U. Like, we don't do that for the number 4. The number 4 is F-O-U-R. The number 14 is F-O-U-R-T-E-E-N. So why 40 do we not have a U? 40. 84. I've talked about that so many times. U.S. also 40. Right? The biblical rituals, the biblical narratives. I mean, we've been talking about all this stuff since way before Kobe died and Moses Malone died. It just keeps piling up. Donald Trump, number 45, biblical number, Holy Bible, 45 forwards and backwards. In the time he's president, the most biblical thing I ever seen, 666 days after the pandemic simulation, They got to make sure you have your mask on if you want to buy or sell. You got to get your jab if you want to buy or sell. And remember, Sumerian gematria, just multiplying the alphabetic order times 6. That word's got the 666. Trump, number 45, the father of the jab, biblical rituals. And that's the thing, too, just about how this saga is like taking it to the latest, drama in the story, right? On the 38th parallel, on the date that can be 3/8, with the election in focus, election 38, the Donald 38. He's there in court at age 77 on the 77th meridian. Okay, our phones are so distracting. People just keep calling over and over, but I think it's trolls. I just had to flip it over so it doesn't distract me. Anyway, the whole Russia-Ukraine thing, which I've ignored on the front screen too, is just big Jesuit theater. We've been documenting the whole time. Called the day it would start before it even happened. So I just wish people would catch on and listen up and take notice. Like, you're going to invest in this election, invest in this story I'm telling you about today, and pay attention to what they do. Because what I'm trying to say is how all these elements are here, this agenda's here, these repetitive patterns are here. Remember, that was one of Biden's big promises when he became president, that there will be major gun reform in this nation. What better way to get that on the map for the federal government than with another big federal, at least political assassination attempt? And again, I mean, from all the 44s to the Kennedy in the race by the numbers, synced up with the Jesuit Superior General. And now right here, again, in court on 3/8, here's the point I really want to make about being in point on this 3/8 date, August 3rd. Death, 38, right? Murder, 38 and 83. The song Murder by Numbers in 83. The movie Murder by Numbers came out on Ignatius Loyola's anniversary of becoming the first Superior General of the Jesuits, April 19th. The day of the Oklahoma City bombing anniversary. And look at Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, for the record. And that had everything to do with Biden, too. Biden had just passed the nation's first counterterrorism legislation on Governor Keating's birthday, the governor of Oklahoma at the time, who's Jesuit educated at Georgetown like Bill Clinton, who was the sitting president. But Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, 83. OKC coordinates. Notice how it's also on the 97th parallel. Murder is 83. Death is 97. Look at Brotherhood of Death. This is the nickname of the secret society at Skull and Bones at Yale, where both Bill and Hillary also went to school, Yale. Again, number 41 was a member of Skull and Bones. Number 43 was a member of Skull and Bones, was Bill Clinton, because they have the option at Skull and Bones to admit if they're members. Bill Clinton was the president between the two Bushes, who were both in the Brotherhood of Death. And Oklahoma City happened while he was president in the lead up to 9/11. For all of you who weren't alive back then, growing up in this country, Oklahoma City was like, whoa, why would somebody ever do that as an American? Or, that it was a huge thing, a massive explosion in the city that killed a lot of people. Big story, major cover-up. But then they put Timothy McVeigh to death 3 months before 9/11. And he's from New York, Timothy McVeigh, and former CIA and military. And was he really the guy who did it? I mean, if you're new here, go back and see my work on that. We were down in Oklahoma City last year on the anniversary, and for the first time ever, that's how we had impact. We had a pretty big crowd. They had to announce in the city that for the first time ever, they weren't going to have the Oklahoma City Memorial outside. They were going to have it inside at the church, big church, right next to the scene. And that morning, there was a big line of police just waiting for us, and they said that they were there waiting for us to make sure that we were not allowed in the public memorial, even though it was a public memorial, because it had been moved to the church. And again, what had we said we were going to do? We said we were going to figure out a way. We were trying to decide, because we understand that people are there to mourn the dead, so we didn't want to be totally rude, but we were there to have an impact on that day and share information that we thought that community deserved. And if you guys missed, when I got to Oklahoma City, They were waiting for me at the memorial, and they went hands-on right away and threatened me. Then I had the police out there. Then I had some guy following me around giving me threats and envelopes. And then I even get back to my hotel, and he's figured out where my car is and put it under the windshield and keyed my hood. That's what made me think, like, is this a Fed? I don't think a Fed would key my car. God, if my car got keyed by a Fed, it's just like, okay, these people are the worst. I feel like that they're the worst for upholding this federal government, but sometimes these people who are like under this mind control, they're still not the worst people. Like, they wouldn't key your car. I just don't expect that from the federal government if that's what that guy really was. I do remember that when he handed me the new federal building's right next to the memorial, he did walk in that direction. I need the young guy who was there in the moment the first time it happened to call into the show sometime. I was talking to a University of Oklahoma sophomore. He came out to talk to me at the memorial when that happened. I'm trying to remember what his first name was. He had an interesting first name. His family named him after like just a nice word. His name was like Courage or something. I was like, wow, that's a really cool name. I don't think it was Courage, but it was something like that. Anyway. Yeah, again, all this stuff's sick, you guys. And by the way, if you're new here, see how counterterrorism equals 201? Joe Biden gave us the nation's first counterterrorism legislation right before the bombing of Oklahoma City. In 95, the Jesuits were created to counter the 95 Theses, and again, it happened April 19th, the anniversary of Ignatius Loyola becoming the first superior general of the Jesuits. Ignatius Loyola 201. The Jesuit Order 201. The World Trade Centers were 2 towers, then they were 0, then they were 1. Oklahoma City, the precursor for 9/11, McVeigh put to death right before 9/11. 3 months to the day, 3 planes hit targets that day. 33 years after 1968. Timothy McVeigh put to death at age 33. Supposedly the lead hijacker on 9/11 was age 33. 1968 to 2001, 33 years. 2001, A Space Odyssey came out in 68. The New York Jets' only Super Bowl winning season in 68. But if you go back and look, hold on. 1995, hold on. Governor Keating, Oklahoma birthday. I got to go back and use it. February 10th. So again, born on the 41st day of the year, right? 41st day of the year. The word terror has that gematria 41. It was 68 days later. 68. That's the same day that the counterterrorism legislation passed, February 10th, 1995. And then it was 68 days later, April 19th, you have the act of terrorism. Again, terror 68, like CIA, like all the things that went down in 1968. They even had to have the Timothy McVeigh trial in Denver, which is 68, even though it happened in Oklahoma City. And if you look up the judge's name, it was 68. And there's some other things that I'm just forgetting. There's a Catholic church right across the street. The name of the statue that the Catholic Church, I don't have it right. That's what I got to go back and look. The name of the statue that they made for the tribute to the memorial, the way they encoded the title is also 68. But look at this with regards to the 201. Timothy McVeigh, who's blamed, 201. His accomplice Terry Lynn Nichols. 201. Names are slipping out of my mind right now, but the man who was put to death that day for trying to blow up the same building in 83. His name's going to come to me as soon as I'm done with this. But Oklahoma City put a man to death the day of the 95 World Trade Center bombing, and that man tried to blow up the building in 83. But his name is also 201. Is it Richard Snell? Is that what it is? It is Richard Snell. Okay, Richard Snell. Look it up. Put to death the same day. 201. And the story is that he was screaming all day that Timothy McVeigh was going to blow up the Oklahoma City building bombing before it happened. So it's like, how can he be saying something like that right before his execution? to me, what it goes to show is, yeah, that they got a group of patsies, agents out there, and this is the best thing to do about them. Just kill them ritualistically, make it a super sub-headline. No one will pay attention to it because all they're watching is the 9 to 5 coverage of the blast at Oklahoma City building, and that's all they heard about. And, the uncle who did some extra reading and tried to bring Richard Snell to the dinner table, people didn't want to hear about it. That wasn't what was on the news. So, and just if you guys are new here, if you type out Limestone Road, it's 201, and the reason I bring that up is because when Joe Biden became senator-elect in 72, his wife and daughter died on Limestone Road, and then Beau Biden died 201 days before the Pope's birthday while he was living in Suite 201. And notice how President Biden, 72, he became senator-elect in 72. His wife and daughter died at the end of 72. When he was 72 years old, his son died in the 201 ritual. And for the record, President Trump was also 72, and so is Jesuit Order, which is a sun cult where the sun moves 1 degree on the astrological wheel every 72 years. And Jesuit Order is 54 like sun, and Jesuit Order is 144 like the word time in Jewish gematria, which is a number divisible by 12, and we have a 12-month calendar and 12 hours in the morning and the evening, and we have 1,440 minutes in a day. And then 153 is just biblical, right? Miraculous catch of 153 fish. And I shouldn't say it's just that because there's a lot more to it. Like Angus Cloud just got to learn more about it on the day leaving 153 days left in the year. Angus Cloud 153. Drug overdose 153. Dead on age 25 working for Jesuit run HBO 25. So yeah, anyway, there's a major spell that they're casting over America, and they've been doing it for all of our lives, and this is how they do it. One ritual at a time, highly symbolic, number enlaced, and again, we gotta recognize that this is a game. Wells Fargo, them doing this to their customers today is part of the game. It's part of the stress. It's a warning, but what are you going to do about it? Sorry, Wells Fargo just gave everybody a big bonus today. Not everybody, not the people that actually work the day jobs, but all the people at the top, all the fat cats. We don't know where your direct deposits went. Check with your employer. Want to call in? The hold line's at 4 hours and 15 minutes a day, and then when we connect, we'll probably disconnect. Okay. Yeah, again, this is the world. We've allowed this world to be built around us out of convenience. That's how they get us with everything. They say there'll be some convenience if you submit to this. If you do this, there'll be some convenience. If you give this money to the government, they'll make your life better for this reason. But will they really? Here, just since the news broke, as I was going live, let's look at the death of Mark Margolis at 83, as we hear about Trump's tough day in court, 8-3, where he needs a lawyer, so he better call Saul. We know Breaking Bad is set in New Mexico, the 47th state, the big President Trump number as well. Let's read the article. It says, Mark Margolis, a veteran actor known for his performances on Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, has died. His son, actor and Knitting Factory Entertainment CEO Morgan Margolis told The Hollywood Reporter. Margolis died Thursday at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City following a short illness. According to his son, he was 83. So, he died on 8-3 at age 83. Shout out to my man Darrell. He says, Zach, are we going to see an obvious death on 8-3? Again, they put a serial killer to death yesterday, just like Charles Manson at age 83. And now you got Mark Margolis dead at 83 on 8-3. Again, Trump's rough day where he needs a lawyer. I mean, to me, the joke's so obvious. The joke's so obvious. There's rumors that Trump's owned by the mob. Again, maybe that's true. Again, the mob, Italy, the Vatican, the Jesuits, aren't they all the same thing? Didn't the Godfather teach us? All right, hold on. Where did my story go? I got too many screens open. Let me close some screens. I'm getting dyslexic with all the screens open. Okay. CNN has reached out to representative from Margolis for comment. You think they'd be reaching out over here? I think we've done a good job of covering celebrity deaths by the numbers. I feel like all the coverage on 83 for the last forever should warrant, like, how do you feel about it, GematriaEffectNews? A celebrity dying at age 83 on 8/3. I mean, sir, do I have to show the Murder by Numbers movie poster again? Again, the letters only change for the 8 and the 3. Sandra Bullock, the star of the film, 83. Next thing you know, it's Kobe. Kobe and the big 83 ritual. Helicopter crash 83, synced up with the Pope at age 83, traveling from Catholic Mass. Gangsters, Catholics, Hollywood. All right, Mark Margolis. He's from Philly. Man, it's getting biblical already. Weren't we just talking about Moses Malone winning it in 83 for Philly? It's just funny. He's born on 11/26, the original Thanksgiving. Rough day for India. It's India's 9/11. You guys know that? India's version of 9/11 is November 26th. And supposedly, George Washington had the first Thanksgiving on 11/26, and Lincoln made an official holiday 74 years later on 11/26. Let's see. So Mark Margolis, dead 250 days after his birthday. You could also say he died on his 251st day of his age, which is the 54th prime. We know about that one in the Jesuits. The 8 months and 8 days does stand out in the 250 days, though, because I was just drawing the parallel with these things being in the news on the same day, same time, and Trump, right? And Trump's got that 88 and 25. So 8 months and 8 days after his birthday, 250 days. Key digits 25, 88. Trump, 47. Again, New Mexico's the 47th state. President, 47. White House, 47. Government, 47. Authority, 47. D.C., 47. Trump said, I've done more than Biden in 47 months than he's done in 47 years. Biden, the 47th vice president, took office with 47-year-old Obama. Okay. Every episode of Breaking Bad, by the way, is 47 minutes long. Maybe there's something about Mount Sinai I'm missing. So apparently he doesn't have a middle name. Well, how about that? Mark Margolis is, look at this. I'm going to type out Washington, D.C. I'm going to type out Society of Jesus. I'm going to put out Mark Margolis. Again, we're talking about Trump in the federal lands. You see how Mark Margolis perfectly overlaps the society in Washington, D.C. with the 56? Remember, Donald Trump. If you guys don't know, the whole pandemic's 56. Coronavirus, COVID vaccine, Anthony Fauci, Gavin Newsom, Cuomo, Seattle mayor, Chicago mayor, blah, blah, blah. Obama won the 56th election. Here we are on his birthday. But all those 56s. The pandemic declared 56 years after Trump's Jesuit education began. He waited to declare a pandemic for the nation until 2 days after the WHO. He waited until Friday the 13th, 2020, a date with 56 numerology. So all those 56s, in reverse, all 187. Again, Trump, GOP convention 18/7, a span of 187 days from Inauguration Day. And there's more to all these numbers too. I'm just boiling them down and just showing how all this stuff fits together like a glove. Mark Margolis, 79 like Society of Jesus. Anthony Fauci, the pandemic declared on his 79th day of being 79 years old. And Anthony Fauci equals 56. Look how Anthony Fauci overlaps as well. Here, I'll just put his name in here. Mr. D.C. since 84. Anthony Fauci, 137 like Washington, D.C., 56 like Washington, D.C., 187 like Washington, D.C., 61 like Washington, D.C. And for the record, all of these numbers are biblical. Again, we're talking about the Jesuits, Catholic, Bible, controlling people with stories, history books. Put on your thinking cap and think about what I'm saying. But here, 137, how's it biblical? In the beginning, if you know the Bible, you know that's what Genesis stands for. In the beginning, 137. 137 is the 33rd prime number. Genesis is 33. Okay? With regards to the federal city, federal's 33. So is order, so is secrecy, so is masonry. D.C. known as the Masonic City. Modern Freemasonry created in London, divided into 33 neighborhoods. In the banking district by the Jesuits. And again, Washington, D.C. So we covered the 137. 56. When you write out 3, it's 56, like Abrahamic. 3 Abrahamic religions. Notice Abrahamic's 187 and 61. 187 chapters in the Torah. Washington, D.C., 187 and 61. 61 is God in Jewish gematria. Authority, God. People who act like gods, who can be like gods when they control screens that dictate the behavior of millions and billions of people. Literally, I mean, it's not even unfair to say billions. It's the same news broadcast across the world as everybody's going out and becoming Pfizer's guinea pig. Thanks to the father of the jab, the great hope from Fordham, Donald Trump. Okay, but anyway, point made. Well, did I make a good enough point? Could have gone on about Society of Jesus, Washington, D.C., 61, like Jesus, like cross, like Christian, like look at all these trustworthy politicians with their hand on the Bible. They're so holy. Like Christmas. Did I say church already? Again, the sacred geometry. The shape that represents God, made out of 61 overlapping circles. Sacred geometry, gematria, the practice of coding numbers and words, means geometry and language. Philadelphia, the Church of Philadelphia, all the biblical riddles they're always doing with Philadelphia. All the time, nonstop, over and over. Okay, so D.C., Jesuits, Society of Jesus, all these rituals, why all these numbers overlap. All right, Mark Margolis. Let's see. The other half of this I see now. If you measure to his upcoming birthday instead of from his last, we talked about his last being 250 days later and 85 before. It's 115 days to his upcoming birthday. If you follow me, you should know what I want to say right now. If you're new here, I wouldn't expect you to understand. But if you follow me, I want to give you a few seconds to think about what's going to come out of my mouth about 115. And again, how these stories are tied together. His death at 83 on 8/3 as Trump's in D.C. on the 38th parallel. What am I going to say about 115? Do you have it yet? I'm going to give you a few more seconds for the person not looking for the... If right now you're the type of person looking for the answer in the chat so you can say that in your mind to say you knew that, that's not a good thing. Don't be that person. What am I going to say about 115? What Congress did Trump take office with when he took office in 2017? He took office with the 115th Congress, right? And then he went on the thank you tour. No president ever went on a thank you tour, but Trump did as president. It's like, just supposed to be governing the nation rather than going around and gloating. Thank you, 115, right? Now, what day is the upcoming election? November 5th. Guy Fawkes Day, the day leaving 56 days left in the year. Guy Fawkes Day, 11/5. And what did we just see about the name Mark Margolis? Didn't we just see that it was 56? Like how the election will be on the day leaving 56 days left in the year? In that recent Batman movie, Gotham's all in chaos on November 5th. Trump refers to himself as Batman. Batman's grandfather found his skull and bones. That's the other piece we've got to get to. We haven't got to the skull and bones piece yet. It's always there. It's always there. And again, it's all tied in. Skull and bones get their symbolism from the Knights Templar, the Templar cross in the middle of the Jesuit logo. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. I bet there's a lot more to the Mark Margolis thing. Oh, he was in Scarface. Didn't Scarface come out in 83? Scarface release day. Didn't it come out in 83? Oh my God. Isn't it sick, man? Dead at 83 on 8-3 and he was in Scarface. Come on, man. Darrell's having a field day on Facebook right now. I already know it. If I go look at his Facebook page, he's saying, I told you. He was posting publicly that there'd be some big death ritual on August 3rd. There really already was with getting rid of the serial killer, but this is just another just blatant slap in the face. Might have to look more into Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. I remember a lot of that has to do with Miami, right? Dan Marino's in that movie. Oz, about the Oswald Penitentiary. Oswald. That's also connected to Lee Harvey Oswald, right? Which goes with the assassination theme in the Kennedys. Well, at least he got to live to 83. Some of these entertainers don't even make it out of their teens. Early 20s. Mid-20s. Angus Cloud. Pee-wee had to go with 70. 2 HBO employees in the news on the same day. Pee-wee's bicycle missing. A dead bicyclist dead by the numbers in the 38th state. You guys missed that one? You know, that dead cyclist who died in Colorado, 8338 land, the 38th state, he was supposed to be in the big world competition on August 3rd. But instead he died. And the next thing you knew, Pee-wee with his bicycle, he's dead. Let's take a minute to look at let's do Mark Margolis better than that. Respect our elders, right? 83. I hope I make it to 83. Let's see. Mark Margolis. His latest movie coming out was Your Honor. Is this about the courtroom? Or this is a new show? Your Honor. Oh my. And it looks like Bryan Cranston's in it? The same actor from Breaking Bad? Come on, man. Oh, come on. This stuff is so wicked, you guys. What's his character? Where is he here? He must just barely be in the show. They don't even have him in the top characters, but they say he's in it. Maybe just like in one episode. Hold on. Where's this show at? It's on Showtime? What's it about? A judge confronts his convictions when his son is involved in a hit and run that embroils an organized crime family. Donald Trump Jr., born on the 201st day of Trump's age. Is he going to be the new taxi driver? Remember De Niro? De Niro made the comment about... I got to go back and look. Johnny Depp alluded to, a Trump assassination wouldn't be the worst thing. De Niro said something somewhere along the lines. If you haven't seen De Niro's Taxi Driver, he's thinking about a political assassination in an election year in New York City. All right, where I got to know more about this Your Honor show. This stuff, man. Woo, man, these people, they know there's not enough of us. That's why they do this. If they knew the whole world was like this, their game would be up. All right, the show came out December 6th, 2020. So just before the transition from Trump to Biden. And then the latest season at least just concluded March 19th, the 78th day of the year. Okay. I'm just thinking about it. That was 45 days before Inauguration Day. So the show came out 45 days before Inauguration Day. Trump number 45 gets replaced. Him and his ex-wife married in 77. Dead 45 years later was she. Now he's 77. Here, just real quick, make sure I'm not doing this wrong. Man, look at that. He died 137 days after the latest season ended. And weren't we just looking at that? His name is 137. We were just looking at all this, right? and how that number goes with Washington, D.C., and if you're new here, it goes with authority, and it goes with government, and it goes with White House. And now the narrative's set up. Trump trying to get back in the White House, going to be in court. Is he a criminal? Did he break the law? Is he a bad man? Is he Breaking Bad? You know what's gonna kill me? Remember I told you when Trump became president, we'd see all these firings like at an unprecedented amount. Remember how that was going on every Friday? There'd be like another firing, another Trump firing. You're fired. Donald Trump, The Apprentice. If you guys didn't get the joke with The Apprentice, that's the first degree of Freemasonry. Freemasonry's 58, like secret society, like Rosicrucian, and like court, where he now is at age 77. But Donald Trump, again, announced from the 58-story Trump Tower and won the 58th election and became this authority figure through the show The Apprentice. And then everybody was "you're fired." And then he's with the Pope on the 144th day of the year when "you're fired's 144 and 54 like Jesuit order. Remember, they had to talk about how, if you guys don't know, John Carroll at age 54 founded Georgetown, the nation's first Jesuit university. And recently, Anthony Fauci got a position there, and they had to, on the big Georgetown page, they had to mention it as 54 years of public service. Again, Jesuit order 54, like sun, like they're a sun cult. But, man. And again, I just don't know. I've been doing this forever, right? Where we do these live parts of the decode, and we just see how perfect it all is. And just in seconds. I mean, Your Honor, are you kidding me? And then 137 days after the last episode. Also, are you kidding me? Here, for the record, from the anniversary of the first episode. Or I went the wrong way. From the last. I don't see anything with that. And from the actual debut of the episode. Well, that's interesting. Okay, so from the debut, from the first episode of Your Honor, December 6th, 2020, just to confirm. Let's go back. December 6, 2020, March 19th, 2023. So that's interesting. From the 970 days, and really the 138 weeks is also interesting, but the 978 days, you see how death is 97? Again, death is 97, the 25th prime number. Death is 97 and 25. We're just about 250 days after his last birthday. Notice how, the word judge is 25, but notice how supreme is 97. And remember, April 7th, 4-7, judge is 47, supreme is 97. April 7th, 4-7 is the 97th day of the year. Trump got his first Supreme Court Justice, Gorsuch, sworn in on April 7th. And remember how they did the weird thing with swearing Ketanji Brown Jackson in on April 7th, but then they didn't actually appoint her until the other big ritual? If you guys remember, they put in Ketanji. You see how African American is 116 and 289 and 71? Ketanji Brown Jackson became the 116th Supreme Court Justice, the first black woman. She was officially installed 289 days after her birthday, and then where African American is 71, so is Ketanji Brown Jackson. Oh, I put an extra N in there. Ketanji Brown Jackson, 71. Just the other day, you had the first black woman in her position, the Lieutenant Governor of New Jersey, die unexpectedly at 71. And 289 weeks after taking office on January 16th, 116. Again, redundant patterns. But I'm curious about, I don't have Showtime, but I'm curious about this show and what else is in there. But again, predictive programming, a reminder that the same people controlling your entertainment studios are controlling your politicians. Ronald Reagan from Hollywood. If you guys never noticed that, Ronald Reagan was the 33rd governor of California, Hollywood 33. Then went on to become president. You see how president has the gematria of 110? Look at Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan. 110. Also 56. Washington, D.C., dead on June 5th. 5-6. Okay, so the last two things he did are Your Honor and Better Call Saul. Your Honor, Better Call Saul. Lawyer related. Better Call Saul is an extension of Breaking Bad. Broken Soldier, don't know about it. Prodigal Son, don't know about it. Snowpiercer, I think that's the weird one on the train. I think I've seen that one. I've heard to watch this Blacklist show because it talks about the Illuminati a lot. Minion, A, Baja. Maybe you guys know about these, but I haven't seen a lot of these. You Bury Your Own, 5.6. He's got 162 credits per IMDb. There's probably a lot to go through here. I don't watch enough TV, especially. A lot of people have seen way more movies than me, but these days we just mostly watch what Sweet Lady watches. Sometimes she picks out a winner. Here's the thing that stands out to me about the 162 writing credits. Sun Worship is 162 and 54. You see that? It's also 108. Right now we're in baseball season, right? Again, all sports are connected. Somehow both the Chicago teams, the numbers that they come in today, pay tribute to Obama. The Cubs on 56 wins. He won the 56th election. They're on the White Sox, his team on 43 wins. He was the 43rd president of the United States, number 44. They can potentially upset and get their 44th win on 44's birthday. But you see how baseball's got the 54 and 162, just like Sun Worship? And then Sun Worship also has the 108. Major League is 108, 108 double stitches on a baseball. Chicago, Obama City's tallest building's 108 stories. They broke the 108-year drought. 108 double stitches is 216 stitches. When the Cubs won, they beat the 216 area code Cleveland in the year that Obama went on to, well, Obama couldn't run again. It was the end of his second term, but Trump won election that year. So the transition from Obama, Chicago, Trump in Cleveland that year. LeBron and the Lakers won the finals that year on the real King James's birthday, and then Trump had his convention in the building right after. And anyway, just all of this stuff is intertwined. LeBron becomes 4-6 in NBA Finals right before Biden becomes number 46. So just in light of how the whole world of entertainment and sports and all this stuff is scripted, that's the one thing that stands out to me today about him being on 162 writing credits is just baseball's going on. And there's probably another thread with that. Maybe it's a past character. Ace Ventura's got a lot to do with the Miami Dolphins. They weren't so bad last year. So, yeah. Those are observations right now. If other people start looking at this, they'll find a lot more. He's in the movie Pi. You know what? He's in the movie Pi. If you have never seen this movie specifically talks about numbers and words in gematria. If you don't know what the movie's about, it's about a Jewish man who's like a brilliant but has some OCD type of tendencies. And he knows that there's some pattern to the stock market. That's right. His mentor is this actor. The first Pi Day was in 88. The first year it was ever celebrated. 88, Steph Curry's birthday, March 14th. But this movie right here, he's trying to find the pattern to the stock market, to uncrack it. And again, he's at a cafe table, and a man gets into a conversation with him who's a Jewish man. And he's like, oh, you ever heard of gematria? And look at these numbers and words. And he's like, that's a scene right down in the... So anyway, all connected. And you know what? With the pi connection, notice how if you spell out 22 divided by 7, it equals 314, like pi 3.14. The mathematical shorthand to get to pi is to divide 22 by 7. So... I don't know if there's more to think about. Pi's got that 25 and 29 like Trump. And, I guess, pi has to do with the mathematics of the circle. Circle's 50. Actually, circle's 50 and 112 like Donald is. Like America is. Catholicism's 112. Mathematics is 112. 1 plus 1 is 2. But yeah, I forgot that he was the mentor in Pi. I have seen that movie. What year did that film come out? Let's look at that. July 10th. Hold on. 22 divided by 7. Yeah. It's like pi, right? But then it's also 107, like 10/7, like the 10th day of July. It's probably not an accident that that movie came out that day. That's the 191st day of the year, leaving 174 days. 191st day, leaving 174 days. Interesting. 191 is big with the Jesuits. 174 is big with the beast. I got to just see from the anniversary of that movie if he died August 3rd. He died, look at that. So he died 24 days later, or you could say he died on his the 25th day of the anniversary of that movie. And again, pi is 25. So is Trump. Dead at 83 on 8/3 when Trump's having this rough day in court. Another 25. Or no, I take it back. Court's not 25. Scratch, judges, gavels 25. But yeah, Your Honor, the name of the show. You see how Your Honor's 149? I almost forgot to talk about it. You see how Jack Smith's 149? Again, the reason Trump's in court right now is because of Jack Smith. And we talked about the day Jack Smith was appointed to his position to do this on November 18th. You see how Skull and Bones is 149? Skull and Bones is known as Order 322. Skull and Bones is known as Order 322. On the 322nd day of the year, Jack Smith, whose name is 149, again like Skull and Bones, was appointed. And now, here we are today, August 4th, Obama's birthday, and the day that the news breaks about his death. He did die yesterday, but we didn't know about it yesterday. We're hearing about it today. He died, and now the last show he's doing is Your Honor. Your Honor, 40, that Old Testament thing. 94, Roman Catholic Church. 59, this has to do with the 59th election. Remember, insurrection in that same cipher, 66. Trump, the news broke 66 weeks before the upcoming election about Jack Smith, saying Trump's guilty of these things. Now Trump's in court by the numbers, saying not guilty. And insurrection's also 78, just like Jesuit, like Scottish Rite, which is also large and in charge in D.C. and shares the motto with the Jesuits, Merum Dei Gloriam. But we just saw that Your Honor show ended on the 78th day of this year. And Trump is going to be 78 years old at the time of the next election. We've been making that point because Cleveland's 78, and Trump had his 2016 convention in Cleveland, and the only Trump president with a split term is Grover Cleveland. Trump could be the next. Imagine Trump does become the next president, the Grover Cleveland ritual, and then he's also convicted of these crimes, but then he uses his authority to I don't. It's just where are they going with this soap opera to drive everybody nuts? You can write the next part of the script, but we're showing you how it's unfolding by the same old code. Is there anything else I need to be thinking about with math and pi and today? There probably is, but try to think about what else I could know about Mark Margolis. I didn't look at his name piece by piece. We looked at it all together. Oh, Margolis has some numbers like Your Honor, doesn't he? 94 and 40. Margolis, 94-40. He's also got that 50. 50, we were just about that. Washington, America, Donald Trump in court 50 days after his birthday. 229 days after the Pope's, the 50th prime. Pope Francis, 122 like Margolis. I mean, it always just fits together so well. So, the name Mark it has the 16 and 29 in it as well, like pi. And dead on the 25th day, counting from the anniversary of the film. Okay. Here, I haven't even clicked on the Wells Fargo story. I'm just going to read a little bit more about how common they're saying this occurrence is. Wells Fargo is going to release earnings figures on July 14th. Direct deposits have disappeared from bank accounts on Thursday at Torrent. And I just want you guys to think about this. Because we don't ask questions as consumers, right? I've been making this has been going on for 10 years now. Banks are giving people more money, like free money, to establish direct deposit to set up a new account than they are saying, like, have $10,000 in the bank. You know, you'll get those coupons in the mail. They'll say, like, if you can deposit $10,000 and keep it there for 6 months, we'll put $500 in your account. And then it'll also say, or set up direct deposit and we'll pay you $400. And it's like, okay, set up direct deposit. I can have free $400 in no time, and that's pretty much the same as if I had to put $10,000 in there for 6 months. Again, the question to me has been like, why? Like, what incentive? How much money can they be making off direct deposit? Are they going to pay back that $400 over the life of the account? I mean, maybe, but again, you guys, it's because the answer is because they want this. Again, it's all controlled. The people controlling these big banks, our big government, they're all part of a cabal, and they're all doing things to incentivize our behavior so that we submit to their system. Everything's electronic. Everything can be surveillanced. They can track every last penny. I mean, you sign the documents with the bank that, you know, the government has the right to, like, get into your account and search and look for anything at any time. There's a partnership there between the banks and the feds. That's why they're federally insured. But see, that's how they go for it, right? They set it all up that way, but then they also provide the federal insurance in case the bank ever collapses. So people are like, well, I'm not a criminal, and, you know, I'd like the security, the sense of security that if this bank folds, I don't lose all my money. So people go for it, right? But we're not realizing how we're playing in this corrupt game that's nefarious. Now it's more than that. I mean, it's already going on in a place like China. If you speak against your government, now they have all this set up, and now they can just zap your bank account, cut you off from your bank account, make it so you have zero access to your money. Oh, you thought you were going to pay the rent this month? Well, sorry, you got to appear in court on this date, and you're not going to win anyway. You know, so... And we're heading the same direction. And people don't understand. The same people who control China are the same people who control America, and that's the Jesuits. And that's why they're all doing the same Jesuit rituals all across the world. Interconnected, like how they simulated the pandemic, Event 201, October 18th, the day leaving 74 days left in the year, and the only two CDCs that showed up in the world to simulate the coronavirus pandemic were China's and America's, the first two countries with the virus. Event 201. The U.S. and China, the world's biggest trade partners ever were. Now the rumors of how they could start World War III through Russia-Ukraine. Okay. All right, you guys. Well, I think I covered everything I needed to cover. By the way, if you're new here about the Skull and Bones thing, again, Skull and Bones 149. We just talked about that. Also 202. That's the DC area code. 202. Washington Nationals just had a big upset on the 202nd day of the year. Area codes, man. Seattle, the 206, just won on the 206th day of the year. Philly, the 215, just won on the 215th day of the year. Oh, what's wrong? I didn't think about that today because I was thinking too much about the Chicago thing. The White Sox are playing Cleveland, the 216. Ooh, that White Sox game's trouble. But Skull and Bones, 41. Skull and Bones member George H.W. Bush, he was number 41. His son was number 43, whose birthday is July 6th, 7-6. Remember the Georgia Guidestones came down on his 76th birthday, and the date on them was 322, March 22nd, which is the number that Skull and Bones calls themselves, Order 322. And Yale's 43. George H.W. Bush was the 41st president, the 43rd vice president. His son was the 43rd president. His other son was the 43rd governor of Florida, where the election came down to that made his one son the 43rd president. And Florida's also 43. And so is football, and Brady went down to Florida age 43 and won himself a Super Bowl. First ever team to win it in their own stadium. And a big joke that we saw a mile away. So remember Brady, 9/11, Patriot Act, Patriots become the sensations of the league with Tom Brady right after Bush, the skull and bones president, is in office. All right, thank you to the super chatters. John Mendoza chipped in 2 to start the stream. Been watching your past lives. Great work, Zach. Thank you again, John. John sent a Cash App yesterday. Day of no videos. John is just super generous. John, thank you so much. But again, you have donated way more than your quota. So again, make sure you got those rainy day savings too. But I appreciate all the support. Yeah, crack their code reminds us that Parkland's 139. Parkland was the name of the hospital where JFK was. It's where the school shooting happened that went to March for Our Lives. What? Parkland firing 139 shots? I mean, this is just... You guys, why aren't we the most viral thing on YouTube? I mean, how many times we talked about gun control and 139 and Parkland? I got to see. I never knew this. I don't think I ever had this detail about 139 shots. Ballistics experts will fire up to 139 shots. Oh, man. Again, like I said, the last major gun control legislation was on September 13th, 13/9. Gun control's 139. They just had a ritual here in Washington State taking away assault weapons with 139. It's happened many a times. But gun control 139 like Parkland. And again, Parkland goes back to the JFK assassination too, because that's the name of the hospital he went to. So, unbelievable. But so believable. I'm trying to remember why they would do it on 8/4. 8/4. Why would they do it on 8/4? It happened on Valentine's Day, right? It happened right after the Super Bowl won by the Eagles, and they're the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Eagles, named after... If you guys forgot that, their symbol looks just like the Philadelphia Eagles. If you don't look up that high school and the Philadelphia Eagles, they had just won the Super Bowl over the Patriots in Minnesota, and the school was named after Marjorie Stoneman Douglas of Minnesota. Minneapolis is the 612 area code. That shooting was 612 days after the Pulse nightclub shooting. Going for the heart, the emotions, to take away the rights and liberties. For the record, you guys, America is also 139. So is Freemasonry. So is Tupac Shakur, who died from gun violence on 13/9. And the list goes on. But yeah, 8/4. I mean, we know it's super Jesuit. Let me just read the whole thing. See if it make more sense of this. 84. Ballistics experts will fire up to 139 shots at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School on Friday. It's today, during a reenactment of the 2018 Parkland massacre, organized part of a lawsuit that accuses a sheriff's deputy of failing in his duty to protect the victims. As I read the first paragraph, just what's going on in my own mind is, remember in 2018, for 3 months, I drove for Uber Lyft. And I really enjoyed it. I had fun, and I had so many good conversations and shared this information with a whole bunch of people. And there were only a couple negative experiences, and one was a guy who was real mad about what I was telling about the March Madness tournament. He slammed my door when he got out of the car. I stopped talking to him at some point because he made it clear that he was annoyed. And I was trying to cheer him up. The real story is, I picked him up at a wedding, and I said, "No date?" He goes, "Oh, yeah, my wife's staying here." He said, "I'm missing the game." I said, "Are you talking about the March Madness game?" He's like, "Yeah, my team's going." And I said, "Don't you think, like, someday you're going to wish you were at the wedding around the game?" He's like, "No way, man." He's like, "I don't like any of the people in there." I was like, "Okay, I get that." I was like, "Hey, but by the way, you ever think that the game might be rigged?" And he's like, "What?" He's like, he said he went on to say that he used to help like one of the athletics programs at whatever his school was. I can't remember what his school was now. It might have been Providence or something like that. So he has an attachment because he said he used to work for one of these schools and their athletics department. So that was part of the story. But then I just started to talk to him about like sports and numbers to see what he was saying, and he was getting kind of annoyed. And then where he cut me off is I said, look what just happened, because what had just happened in the tournament is on March 16th, the first 16 seed ever had beaten a 1 seed, and that was University of Maryland, Baltimore County beating Virginia. And that was the 136th meeting ever between a 16 and a 1. Well, that's interesting because if you had 1 through 16 together, it equals 136. And the first time it ever happened. So I told him that, and then he just got annoyed. And then so I was like, okay, if he just thinks that's dumb, I'm just going to shut up and drive him to his spot. But when he was getting out, I forget what I said. It wasn't like rude, but maybe kind of like halfway funny, sarcastic. But he picked up on it and he slammed the door. So anyway, it felt like just like guy stuff in the locker room, and I didn't care that much. It was like the first time I'd had a negative experience sharing this knowledge with anybody. And maybe some other people were indifferent. I remember one woman on the way to a baseball game was trying to quiz me on everything to like prove me wrong, but I was able to answer her questions. She wasn't like real annoyed though. She was just like debating. And then the other person who had a negative experience was the March for Our Lives thing. And it was interesting because I was telling, you guys have to remember at that time I just finished writing my first book, Letters and Numbers. And, that book got delayed by months because I was trying to keep up with all the last second stories. And Stoneman Douglas was like the last thing that happened before I finished that book. And so it was really fresh in my mind because I'd just written this section of the book on Stoneman Douglas. And then I'm driving for Uber and Lyft in Seattle, this very liberal city where everybody I was picking up that day was going to the March for Our Lives. It's actually a good day as a driver because people were traveling from the suburbs to Seattle to participate in this march. They didn't want to park downtown. But I got to talk to several people, and the last person I talked to before the march got underway, he was a young guy. He was probably around the same age as me. So, 2018, I was 34 years old at the time, and I was 34 going on 35 because it was spring of 2018. Turned 35 later that year, but he was probably around the same age as me, and I was asking him, just first simple questions like, I can't remember what it said on signs, but he's for the whole, greater gun laws and restrictions. So I had a conversation about that, and then I asked him, so I'm like, do you ever consider that maybe these shootings aren't happening as we're told, and there's maybe an agenda to take away rights and liberties? And he acted like he didn't think that what it was, and then he asked why I would think it could be something like that. And so I started to show him things that I knew. And remember, one of the things that they showed us about Stoneman Douglas is that the majority of students were killed in room 1214. And that just seems so interesting to me because I don't remember in any school that I ever went to, even in college, a door number having 4 numbers on it. Plenty of doors with 3 numbers, 2, maybe an occasional 1. But I don't remember any doors with 4 numbers on it. But they said the majority of students who were killed at Stoneman Douglas were killed in room 1214. And what is 1214? Well, it was parallel to Sandy Hook, and that's the date of the Sandy Hook shooting, 1214. So I was talking about things like that, and it seemed like he was listening and kind of getting it. And when I got near the destination, when he was saying, we're getting to the spot, or when you're driving Uber or Lyft, it shows you how much further you have to go. So we knew we were getting near the end of the thing. And at some point, he just cut in after it seemed like he was sort of listening and entertaining what I was sharing. But he cut in, and I realized, he'd been listening, but maybe just looking for something to, stab me with. And maybe he really didn't get that in what I was saying, but he still wanted to stab me anyway. So then he went off about how, I'm some kind of weirdo, and he hopes I get, help for my mental problems, and, have a nice life. And then he also closed the door pretty hard, but not as hard. The guy was more passionate about the March Madness thing than this guy was me, essentially not jiving with his political beliefs and what he was going out there to stand for. But he had to come with all the chirpy comments at the end as he got out. But understand, I talked to hundreds of people. I did a lot of, because I was driving 80 hours a week for those 3 months. I drove a lot of hours in the time I did it. So there was a lot of social experiment time. And I realized that, if you're willing to work 80 hours a week, you can get paid pretty well driving for Uber and Lyft, at least in a major city like Seattle. There was 1 week where I made over $4,000. The average week was always around, it seemed like it was always a little bit better than 2,000, but there was 1 week where all the stars aligned and I was getting all these long trips and good tips, and I couldn't believe it. I was man, over 4,000 a week, but again, you did work 80 hours. But yeah, I remember that being a fun period and a lot of good conversations, but lots of good conversations, only really two bad ones. I had some other bad experiences, but it wasn't from Gematria. It was like drunk people. And one night I had a man get in the car drunk, and he wanted to change the location where I needed to take him to. And I asked him if he could put it back in the system, because you're allowed to do that, edit as a passenger. But he didn't. He was getting annoyed that I was asking him that. He said, "I'm just going to navigate you there." I'm sorry, I'm getting off into a tangent, but he was going to navigate me there. So we're driving, and we're like, when he tells me to turn, so I'm turning, and then we get on this one stretch, and we're driving for a ways, and I keep saying to him, like, we haven't gone past the turn yet, have we? And he said, no. And then all of a sudden he realized, like after we'd gone a ways down this road, that we'd gone past the destination, and he got so mad. He got so angry, and like literally like putting hands on me. I can't remember if like it was a small strike or a shove, but it was something, and I was just like, whoa, hold on, man, I'm still driving. And the thing was, I let this guy sit in the front seat, too. He has to sit in the front seat. He said it would help him because he drank too much. Anyway, it just reminded me of dealing with drunk people. It's like, okay, dude, I've asked you to put the address in the system. You're sitting here navigating me, and I've been asking you if we passed it. Now you're mad that we drove way past it? You've been telling me we hadn't passed it. But it just reminded me what alcohol is, and just all the crazy people with alcohol problems. And by the way, you guys, I mean, that's another thing they did to us by the numbers. Look at alcohol. 33, right? What year did Prohibition end? 33. A lot of these beer companies pay tribute in 33 to somewhere in their can. Like, oh my God, I don't even drink it all, so I can't even think of the name of these brands anymore. But they're the brand with the green can. They got to think about their 33 traditions. And, you know, big brands like Miller, and there's other ones. But, yeah, you guys, we've been living in this number nightmare where one ritual is unfolded us at a time by the numbers, where every time it's like a trick. It's like there's some nice reason to do it, but then we realize it's ultimately not good for us. It's like it puts us further under the thumb of government. Look at all the families we destroyed with alcohol. Now we got all these kids in our group homes, and we could take them out and turn them into little assassins and, you know, make sure everybody's fighting with each other and never fighting us. I might be exaggerating. I mean, it could be an exaggeration about taking the kids out of the group home and turning them into assassins, or maybe not. They're making movies about that too, right? Hitman, Agent 47, like government, like authority. You know, YouTube, or not YouTube, but Amazon was nice enough to do the remake of Utopia, where they're raising government assassins. But yeah, shout out to Amy. She runs the website Crack Their Code. She caught this headline. I missed this one today. So I got to have the TV on in the background more often running. So cracktheircode.org. Amy doing a great job. And I realized I should check Wells Fargo. Gematria. She's probably got a good article on Wells Fargo here. Let's see. Did she notice anything about today? Oh, the Skull and Bones observations there. She saw the 185 on there. Okay. Catholicism, mathematics. Don't forget mathematics. Okay. But yeah, she's got her eyes on the same things the rest of us do in the Gematria community. She's doing a great job. And oh yeah, I just remembered another 139. Hold on, I got to show you guys one more 139. You see how the Bavarian Illuminati is 139? And again, it was founded by the Jesuit, Adam Weishaupt, and the Jesuits were intended to stop the 95 Theses. I want to go back to this old post of Tony Soprano and the other Soprano. Let me see, let's pulls it up. What? Are you kidding me? How does that not come up? Sopranos actor Frank. Can't think. Frank Vincent. Frank Vincent died September 13th. He's on The Sopranos with Tony Soprano. Remember, I don't know why that post isn't coming up. It should be coming up. It better not have been scrubbed too. They've deleted so many posts. I'm surprised there's some posts that still exist on my old website, but they've deleted so many that a lot of things just don't come up anymore. Hold on. I want to get this in here. It's in my first book. I gotta find it. Bear with me a minute. Why is that not working? Okay. Okay. Is this the right one? Oh, there it is. It was taking forever to come up. Okay, so here's what it is. Exactly 221 weeks after James Gandolfini, exactly 221 weeks, Frank Vincent dies on 13/9. You see how that works? And again, Tony Soprano was on vacation in Italy, where the Pope is, the first Jesuit Pope. He died right at the beginning of Pope Francis' reign. But Frank Vincent's dead exactly 221 weeks after Tony Soprano on 13/9. Big actors in The Sopranos. And, hold on. I gotta close some tabs. My computer's overheating. Okay. Gangster jokes, right? What else would it? Frank Vincent died at age 78. We know where that one fits in with the Jesuits. Frank Vincent's full name, Frank Vincent Gattuso, equals 78 like mafioso. Let me go back in. James Gandolfini died June 19th, the real King James's birthday. He was born September 18th in history, the day of the CIA. So, Sopranos equals 99, and Gandolfini died on the 99th day of Pope Francis. I had to go back. I couldn't remember those things off the top of my head, how they were. 99th day of Pope Francis. The face of the Sopranos is dead. In the book, I got the picture of Bergoglio before he's Pope doing the Masonic hidden hand gangster pose. In the photo, he looks like a mafioso. James Gandolfini equals 266. That's why he was the perfect guy to die. James Gandolfini, 266. Oh, 139 as well. And then Frank Vincent dies on 13/9. I think I missed that in the book. That's why if you go back and read my old book, I mean, there's so much room for improvement in that. If you ever want to get better at Gematria, read my first book. Take the time to read through the whole thing if you can. It's nearly 800 pages. You know, do it over the course of a year. But as you read it, on every page go, I can do something better than Zach did in this book now. Because a lot of my teachings since then are way better. We just know more. I think I missed that whole thing about James Gandolfini in 139. Man, the 67 and 86 are rough too, because blood sacrifice and human sacrifice are 67 and 86, and Jesuits is 86. But remember, the Jesuit motto, Isus hominum salvator, is 266. Again, Pope Francis, when he spoke in D.C., did on the 266th day of the year. But yeah, all in that same cipher. Dead on the Pope's 99th day of being Pope. Gandolfini in Italy. I think they said it was a heart attack. Here, let's pull it up right here. For the person out there who... See, that's the thing about people too, right? There's a certain type of person who'd watch these and go, I don't see any proof, and just turn it off and like not even look themselves. Okay, Pope Francis became Pope March 13th, 2013. Pope Francis, first day as Pope, here. March 13th, 2013, 3-13-13. 3 is the second prime, 13 is the sixth prime, so 3-13-13 in prime numbers is 266 for the 266th Pope. I was studying Hebrew gematria yesterday too, just trying to put in some finer details in this Kobe book without making it too complicated but totally undeniable. And I learned something yesterday that I was overlooking the whole time that just blew my mind. I don't know if I should tell you right now or just save it for the book. But it explained the whole 26-37. Kobe and Bear Bryant dead on the 26th day of the year, 37 years apart, when both their names equal 26 and 37. There's something real big about God and those exact two numbers in Hebrew gematria. Let's see. I have to go back to the right year. 3/13/2013. Tony Soprano dead June 19th, 2013. 98 days after he became Pope, or, like it says in the book, on his 99th day of being Pope. The face of the Sopranos was dead. Gangsters, Jesuits, the Vatican, Italy. James Gandolfini dead in Rome. All roads lead to Rome. 6 + 19 + 13, that's 38. Like death, like murder, like killing. That movie where De Niro's in it and they kill the Union guy. The last house he walks into where the murder happens, where De Niro takes him out. Look at the address. It's either 38 or 83. The house he goes into. It's either number 38 or 83. When I decoded James Gandolfini's death, I don't even know like if I measured the Sopranos. I think I just stopped right there with the Pope. I didn't even like go back and look at the anniversary of Sopranos dates. 1999, that's when the Sopranos came out. I was in high school. It came out in 99, right? It came out in 99. Dead on the 99th day. The Soprano, and what am I always saying about HBO? Just everything by the numbers, totally Jesuit. What just happened to Pee Wee and Angus Cloud? Comes out in 99, dead on the Pope's 99th day of his age. Okay. It's pretty straightforward. January 10th, 2013, the anniversary to his death. Let's go back and see. 160 days, or a span of 161, 5 months and 9 days. Now, I just know when I was looking at my book, I did have something written about 59. Pope Francis, oh yeah, of course. Remember, Pope Francis is 59 because Benedict stepped down on the 59th day of the year for him. The 59th presidential election, Biden became number 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday. You know, all things we talked about before it happened. But let's see. You think more people would want to talk about this subject, man? Nobody, I like almost nobody. I mean, I guess I've done a few interviews, but just hardly any in the last 3 years since we put out the latest book. You would think more people would want to know. Oh, I did have the part about James Gandolfini in 139. I just didn't read far enough ahead. I have a lot on it, actually. If you guys want to check out letters and numbers, there's the section on James Gandolfini's death. Oh, hold up. What's this part about August 4th? Hold on. In the James Gandolfini part, I got a part about August 4th. What? A major parallel between the death of James Gandolfini and Frank Vincent was the fact that Frank Vincent died on September 13, 2017. Not unlike 139, James Gandolfini 139. That was a date with numerology of 59, connecting to Freemasonry and Pope Francis. Yet another parallel was that he died on his 41st day of his respective age, which is the 13th prime number. Consider his birth. Oh, Frank Vincent's birthday was August 4th. That's why it's in that section. Frank Vincent's not in, because they use a lot of these actors in a lot of the gangster movies. I'll have to look if he's in somewhere in Scarface. Or wait, is it Gandalf? Whose birthday is August 4th? Hold up. You know, that's the thing that's annoying too about this internet age is like, I swear to God, Wikipedia and IMDb, if you document over time, like if you go back through my old blog post, you'll see like people's ages documented at certain things. They don't have the same birthday that they did on those sources 5 years ago. Hold up. Whose birthday was August 4th that I wrote about? Hold up. I'm going to go back and find my old post on Frank Vincent. "221 weeks after Gandolfini." I'll have to go back and read that more carefully because I speed read through that section. But yeah, there he is, dead at 78. Frank Vincent Gattuso, 78. That's on my old website, freetofindtruth.blogspot.com. I don't know. Maybe I made an error. I might have to go back and edit that. Unless it's possible I was looking at different sources that day. Or there it is. So this one says he's born August 4th. August 4th. And now he's born April 15th. Now he has a whole different birthday. Okay. And again, isn't it funny? Like 1984, George Orwell, how in that world, the government that rules over people is always changing information and dates. It's so annoying, you guys. And it just big tech in 1984, Steve Jobs. 1984, huge year for technology. Mark Zuckerberg, born in 84. But yeah, I find that interesting. So this was once Frank Gattuso's birthday. I noticed, but here, look, notice in this screenshot, it's September 18th. So it changed at some point. Or maybe I was documenting that it was like, I don't know, I might have made a note somewhere if I would go back and watch my old live stream. Because we've seen that before. We've seen how many times the day a celebrity dies, on that day, like IMDb will change the birthday, Wikipedia will change the birthday. They did it in a big way with Chadwick Boseman. They changed everything by 1 year. So it wasn't reported that he died at age 42 on Jackie Robinson Makeshift Day, number 42. On Jack Kirby's birthday, he wrote the Black Panther. Again, the real Jackie Robinson was in the Tank Brigade, the Black Panthers. Yeah, something else. Something else. I got to check if Frank Vincent's in Scarface too. Because I just find it funny that his birthday was once. No, it doesn't look like was ever in Scarface. But yeah, if you got here late, Mark Magola's dead at 83. Dead yesterday, 8-3. And was in Scarface, which came out in 83. And his latest film, Your Honor. Latest show, Legal. Like Trump in court on 8-3. Okay, so again, thank you, John Mendoza. Thank you, Amy Benito. Thank you for exposing the truth. We need to finally revolt or bust. I agree, man. Revolution or bust. Cover Terrence Butler. I could also see Kerry Lake running VP with Trump. Who's Terrence Butler? I don't know. Terrence Butler. Drexel University basketball player Terrence Butler found dead. This news broke yesterday on August 3rd. Man. The Drexel University community is mourning the loss of basketball player Terrence Butler on Thursday. That was August 3rd. Passed away on campus the day before. Okay. So he died August 2nd, right? I got to look into who's connected to Drexel and basketball. The word game is 82, okay? So they're saying he died 8-2. They saved the news for 8-3. 82 game in the NBA, 82 game season in the NBA. Jordan's birth numerology is 82. Names like Brian are 82. There was some big 82 ritual I died. It's funny doing it. That's the downside about doing this for so long is because I do the same thing every day and like things just become a blur. I know I just talked about some big 82 ritual on my blog on 8-2. I don't think I actually did a video for it. 10 years ago I would have been so excited about it. I would have been broadcasting within minutes, but it's like I teach this stuff every day. So now I just got to find the things that people will probably actually watch. They don't care unless it's like a big enough name. As you get older, you got to pace yourself. But anyway, I see he's dead at 82, or dead on 8-2, excuse me. But we get why the news breaks on A3. President John Fry announced. All right, let's get some information on Drexel University. Drexel. Watch out, Klein Drexler. Okay, it's in Philly. Philly's been huge with sports lately. Tons of sports rituals with Philly, right? World Series, Super Bowl, MLS championship. Couldn't win any of them. The Phillies could win on the 215th day of the year, though, for the 215. But says the undergraduate school was founded in 1891, so 132 years ago. 132 years ago. Unless it's later this year. Unless later this year it'll be 132 and it's 131 right now. We'll get the specific date. Championships 131. Again, there's been a lot of Philadelphia sports championships. These are games. Game 82, dead on 82. But then 132, we just talked about how big that number is. United States of America, 132. Country named 132 days from the Illuminati. 132 rooms in the White House. Roman Catholic, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Drexel, 68 like basketball. We definitely talked about that. 94, we talked about where 68 and 94 go with that. Catholic Church. By the way, Jesuits got old Loyola, which is at 82. But Drexel University. Also 94 that way. 86 like blood sacrifice. All right, so here. Drexel University establishment date. For some schools, this comes up like nothing, and this one it does. So it's actually going to turn 132 later this year on the Pope's birthday, Saturnalia. So it's 131 years old and change. It's in its 132nd year of existence. It will turn 132 December 17th. Since that's the anniversary date for the school, let's see. 220. Oh, I should have already known that, right? Because it's the same. I was saying that earlier. It's turned 29 days after the Pope's birthday, the 50th prime. Donald in court 50 days after his own birthday. That's 136 days then to his upcoming birthday, which is the 16th triangular number. I have to see what Drexel does this year in basketball. And get some more information about him. Terrence Butler. Terrence Butler, 6786, like blood sacrifice and human sacrifice. I mean, it's like, why do these people always have the same numbers in their name? So, let me see if I can find his birthday. Actually, here, let's look up his basketball stats first. You want to look at College Basketball Reference website. That's the site you want to pull up for college basketball player stats. And now both Basketball Reference and College Basketball, they both got for women as well. Now, he's from Maryland. We've been talking about a lot of deaths connected to Maryland, haven't we? So he's from Maryland. That stands out. They got to list him at 201 centimeters. Number 24. 6'7", huh? 6'7". So played 2 years with Drexel, freshman and junior. Or no, that's class. Because I say, we're sophomore. I don't understand that part. He doesn't play a lot. He averages 4.4 minutes a game. Doesn't get to the free throw stripe. He's on the team, but he's not a significant player. So probably makes him more expendable by the cabal. Maybe he's not living up to the hopes of the people who gave him the scholarship. Let's see, the story is, the Drexel University's community is mourning the loss of basketball player Terrence Butler on Thursday. Butler, a forward on the school's basketball team, passed away in his on-campus apartment on Wednesday, the university announced in a statement from President John Fry. On behalf of the entire Drexel community, we extend our deepest sympathies. It doesn't say anything about, let's see. Information about his cause of death has not been made available. And then, again, the Police, the band, did the song Murder by Numbers, where killing's as simple as ABC 1, 2, 3, and we're never getting to the bottom of anything because police are always saying everything's not suspicious. Because we're allowing authorities to control the information in our lives, the understanding of what's taking place, not understanding how corrupt these authorities can be. Doesn't mean every policeman's a killer, but there might be a killer in every department, and it only takes one, because this stuff's going on all over the nation. But yeah, seeing that the college is 131 years old, and just like I was saying, dead on a day connected to games, dead in connection to a championship number, Philly in championships all over the place. They lost in the Super Bowl too. Super Bowl's another 131. February 12th to August 2nd. Wednesday's not really a football day specifically. 171 days later, or a span of 172. God, I forget what it was about 18 in the Super Bowl. 171 is the 18th triangular number, and 172 is the big Jesuit Admirum de Gloria motto. It's also the Kansas City Chiefs number. Remember, Len Dawson died 172 days before the Super Bowl on Kobe Bryant Day, when Kobe's from Philly, and that was the precursor for the Super Bowl. And then a year to the day of that last Super Bowl, the first Eagles quarterback to ever face the Chiefs died. Len Dawson was the Chiefs' great. He died on the 24th of August, 24 days before Mahomes' birthday, and Mahomes was 24 years old when he won the Super Bowl the weekend after Kobe, number 24, died. Remember, that was Super Bowl 54, Kobe being Bryant 54. LeBron had passed Kobe the day before in points scored in Kobe's hometown on the court with Snakes, scoring the 54th points of the game on 25/1, where 251 is the 54th prime. Talked about how that actor dead today is dead on the 251st day of his age. But yeah, Super Bowl 54 was also the Joe Montana Bowl, which is another 54. When I was talking about the sun worship and baseball thing earlier, I didn't finish that thought. And I didn't talk about where 108 fits in with the distance between the sun, the earth, and the moon. Anyway, whatever. It's not like there's been a shortage of information. People can only retain so much. The stream's an overflow. Yeah, the thing I have to find is his birthday, and that can be difficult for college basketball players, especially if they're not significant members of the performance on the court. That's not the right Terrence Butler. I better look out, he's 74. That's Geezer Butler. Let's see. Philly, please suspend investigation. Oh, they just stopped the investigation. Oh, I see. Now, the point I was just making about the police, murder by numbers, 1983, All it takes is a police report to cover this stuff up. Philly police suspend investigation. Could that have come from a greater authority? CIA founded in a big Jesuit ritual. Murder by Numbers, the movie out on Ignatius Loyola Day. Tributes to Drexel basketball player Terrence Butler have poured in across social media after news of his sudden passing was disclosed by the university on Wednesday. Butler, a rising junior who was a reserve forward for the Dragons, was discovered dead in his on-campus housing Wednesday morning. His apartment building was on the 3400 block. They just got to get it in there, right? 3400 block. Murder 34, black 34. Jesus 34, biblical city, Philadelphia. Only physical description of Jesus, that of a black man. A medic arrived and pronounced Butler dead at about 30 minutes later. There's a lot of ways you go with that 30. It's got a racial component. It's got a slavery component. It's got a biblical component. Bible has a lot to do with slavery. The Philadelphia Department of Public Health confirmed late Thursday on 8/3 he died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Woo! Shut down the investigation. The ballistics are all wrong. Just say it was a suicide. Trust us. No need to look further. Couldn't have been any more obvious. It's all in the police report. August 2nd, for the record, can be written 2-8. Kill 28, shooting 107, that's the 28th prime. I bet that's what it was, you guys. I bet it was a suicide. 4.4 minutes a day wasn't enough. You see how they had his time at 4.4 minutes? Man, I was just watching this thing about Moses Malone. I was watching this Moses Malone interview. Look at this. NBA all-time point scorers. It was after he retired, and he said he would have had a lot more than 29,000 points in the NBA if it wasn't for his coaches. So I found that interesting. And let me see. Where do I get the all-time points? Where's Moses? Okay, so that's regular season, so it must be regular season and playoffs. Let me see. What's he got in the... He's not on the playoff list. Okay, but I was just watching this. As an older man, he's given there. He says, I would have had way more than 29,000 points if it wasn't for my coaches. Now, the reason that stood out to me when I heard him say that number, 29,000, and I'm just making this point about how coaches control the thing and, how many minutes you're on the court, and just the fact that this guy's average time on the court can be 4-4. Now he's dead in a shooting that's supposedly self-inflicted. Could be coincidental, but the news is also big on Obama, number 44's birthday, who loves basketball. He's, connected to the federal government, which goes back to Philly. The other year that rapper was shot dead on Obama's birthday, and they had to report, it was at 4:40 in the afternoon when he was killed on Obama's birthday. But I'm not blaming Obama. I'm just saying he's just part of this big, sick Jesuit system that's like this. But, Moses Malone complaining about being stuck on 29,000. The day that he died on the Jewish calendar was the 29th day of Elul, which is the last day of that month, where, again, Moses goes to the top of Mount Sinai. And again, Moses, he leads the slaves. And notice how Moses Malone equals 41 in the same cipher as Kobe Bryant. And again, Kobe died at 41. And again, Exodus 4:1, where Moses doubts God and he turns his staff into a snake, and then his death's connected to Kobe. Moses Malone died right before Kobe's retirement season. Exodus 4:1, again, Exodus 74. Moses Malone drafted in 74 to the Jazz. Kobe finishes his career against the Jazz in the 74th NBA season. Malone equals 60. Kobe scores 60. Moses Malone's dead at 60. Again, the 1983 NBA Finals that Moses Malone won over the Lakers began 60 days after his birthday and ended 281 days after Kobe's birthday, the 60th prime. Holy 60. Kobe turned 5 that year. The 5 books of Moses that begin the Bible. The 5 men on the court. Satan jokes all over the place. Moses Malone born in 55. Satan falls out of the sky like Kobe. Angel is Fallen came out on Kobe's last birthday. Come on, you guys. Traveling from Catholic Mass, dead on the Pope's 41st day of his age. But yeah, Jesuits, Catholic, Jewish, biblical jokes. And again, just one more time, crucifies 40 and 41. Kobe dead 40 days after the Pope's birthday on his 41st day of his age. 40 chapters in Exodus. And Moses Malone beat the Lakers 4-0. 4-0. Fo. Okay. And again, it's Philly, right? So we're talking about a dead Philadelphia basketball star. The first basketball championship won by Philly. The Warriors, greatest team of recent time, originally from Philly. Always doing big Pi Day rituals with the 76ers or the Warriors. With Steph Curry born on Pi Day, the 73rd day of the year, they set the win record at 73. So that's just the thing, too, about talking about a dead Philadelphia basketball player. It's like Philly's basketball history is so immense. Kobe from Philly. It's just weird to me that this is... I didn't realize this was going on in the news because I was so focused in my writing yesterday just trying to... in a way, as I was writing yesterday, I was like, I'm making the book a little bit more complicated, but God, am I really tying in the dots for anybody who might be a doubter. Trying to make this thing the most undeniable thing I ever did. Isn't it weird, though, that in the background this was going on? A dead player in Philly while I was so focused on Moses Malone in 83, Kobe dead in the helicopter crash, the 83 ritual synced with the 83-year-old Pope, and then this is going on in the background. I see those as the confirmation, sadly, from the universe that we're doing the right thing to expose this evil in the moment it's happening. Drexel basketball schedule 2022-23. That's one more thing I want to look at since he was on this team. I just want to see what they did last year. So we get a record, how they were. Why is that? Why are the Drexel Dragons? Oh, by the way, let's check that out. Drexel Dragons. DD 44. 65 like Philadelphia. There's a bunch of things I can say about that, but again, if you're new here, I call Philadelphia the 65 city. Established on a date with 65, or on the day leaving 65 days left in the year. That's Philadelphia, October 25th. They were 17 and 15, 10 and 8 in the conference. Old Dominion. Isn't that where there's something about... Oh, Moses Malone died where Old Dominion College is. I just see their first game was against Old Dominion. It's just in my mind because I was looking at Moses Malone and his whole Philly ritual with Kobe. And I just see Old Dominion again. They played in 2 tournaments. They won and they lost. Last tournament game was March 5th, 3-5. Last regular season game was against Northeastern. Last regular season game was on the 54th day of the year. Let me just see from their last game. Let's see, did he play in the game? Drexel went down with 68. This box score is taking a long time to load. Come on. Okay, I don't understand why... I see the Butler, but it's a different first name. Is he wearing number 23 in his photo? It's a different first name in the box score. the Butler name's there, but different first name. The same person. Number 24, the guy that played is number 23. He must not have had any minutes in this tournament game. It's a different Butler. Could be his brother. All right, let's see. Did he play in the last regular season game? The other Butler played. He did play in the last regular season game. 2 minutes, no shots, 1 rebound, 1 assist. Only 2 minutes. I just want to find out what day his last game was. That game was on the 54th day of the year. Here, let's check the one other tournament game. Whoops. Did he play in the first tournament game? You know what? If his last game was February 23rd, Philadelphia 2-2-3 as well. Here, let's see. Did he play in this game? He didn't play in the tournament. So his last game with the Philadelphia team was 2-2-3. And then he dies. August 2nd. Okay. Last game. Oh, sick. I see this. So, his last game, right? February 23rd, 2-2-3. Philadelphia 2-2-3. The Synagogue of Satan 2-2-3. He dies August 2nd. Span of 161 days. The golden ratio is phi, PHI, like how Philly's commonly abbreviated. We talk about this number with Philadelphia. 1.61 is the golden ratio. Yeah, that doesn't look like a suicide to me. I get why the police closed the investigation. For all you guys who are saying I should call the police department right now, if anybody's out there saying that, I'm thinking about it, but you know what? You know what I get sick of doing? Doing things that don't get a result. I know it's entertaining for people when I call, but I want to be more than entertaining. I haven't had a single police department ever get back to me, any authorities. What I really want is people to catch on to what I'm talking about and how sick this is and how this needs to stop. And we need to revolt. Seriously. This is horrible that we have to live in this and pay taxes to it. A murderous authority that ritually sacrifices human beings. It doesn't mean it's every police officer and everyone in the government, but this is at the end of the day what's going on. And this is going on in all our communities, all across the land. And we're still marching in the stadium and giving them our money to watch the next game anyway. Vote in the next election. How many other ex-wives can they take down at Trump's before November 5th, 2024? So they make everybody pull their hair out. But yeah, that's wild. I was blown away by what I found about Moses and Kobe yesterday that I've been missing all these years and how biblical it was. And then I was going back and forth on, is this too many details? But my God. Okay. All right, thanks for the Terrence Butler. You got your money's worth for $2. Lawyers charge $2 an hour. Gematria decoders, they do it for free. Or a $2 tip. Shout out again to John Mendoza. He said, I could also see Kerry Lake running VP with Trump. Yeah, Kerry Lake's got a big following. It's just like I said, the people who bought my house that live in the senior community now. I won't even say their names because it starts the Illuminati conspiracy. It's just a crazy... Again, you guys, you focus all day on numbers. There's a spell casting side of this too. You can intentionally cast spells. You might make the Super Bowl MVP a Super Bowl 56. You might make his grandfather somehow buy your house 263 days. What was it? Was it 263 days after Super Bowl 56, the 56 prime? Again, a lot of people are like, Zach is definitely Illuminati. It's like, I could have never planned that in a million years, and I didn't have anything to do with that. That's just the way it worked out. Anyway. Amy's got another one. Let's see. But I was going to say that those people bought my house. They love Kerry Lake. They love Carrie Lake. They're all into their Fox News and Carrie Lake. But they listened. They heard what I was saying, too. Yeah, she's got a post up on Terrence Butler's death. Yeah, she's noticing the same things. Oh, Drexel. Yeah, no, actually we had that. We had Drexel University 86, too, yeah. John Fry announced the death 67 days from his own birthday. Woo, man. Remember, Kobe died on the date with 67 numerology. Day Kobe died, 1/26/2020. Added up. 1 plus 26 plus 2020, 67. President John Fry, 82 on A2, right? Like games 82. Like they're playing a game with us, the authorities. Someday I'm going to write a fictional book about how all along my mom was right and everything she was doing that I thought was a disaster in my life was actually saving the day. I just say that because I just remember being a college student and I remember the leaders of the department, they found out about me and man, did they really take a liking to me. And I found it to be really surprising because the reason that I got on their radar is because a couple of my professors really didn't like me, and that's because I was very vocal and I would call them out for things that they'd say in the classroom. You have to remember this was after 9/11. And I even had my English professor, who wasn't even in the business department where this happened, make me sign a behavior slip like I was a little kid in elementary school or something. I had to sign a behavior slip in college because I called her out so hard for changing the curriculum after 9/11 about how now we were just going to study all these Middle Eastern, possibly terrorist threat nations. Like literally that's what our new assignment was. And I just thought it was so gross because I knew what a load of bullshit 9/11 was. But I would argue with my professors when they'd say things that were political that I thought were bullshit. Or another professor just was always talking about Desperate Housewives, which was a new show, and assigning the hardest assignments and tests, which was also bullshit. But anyway, because of my personality, I had to meet with the higher-ups in the department, and I noticed the guy who was in charge really started to like me, and another guy who was like his second in command who also taught economics really liked me, and I ended up getting scholarships, and things were going well until I told my mom about one day, and then she made a phone call in, and then they just couldn't believe that my mom would call in. I didn't ask my mom to call in, you have to understand, but she left a really like embarrassing voicemail, and then they kind of looked at me like a different person, and it seemed like they weren't really helping me out anymore, but now I just look back at all the weird stuff that happens and how people get recruited in colleges and it seems like they get used and abused and put on certain paths, and then you read about sometimes I just wonder like, what if they were starting to recruit me? It could have been something like that, and then mom messed it all up, but that ended up being the best thing that ever happened. Anyway, sorry, I'm still getting off on tangents, but yeah, it's crazy how synced up it all is. I still remember Michael Crow, who took over as the head of ASU when I was there, and looking into his eyes, and I'd never seen eyes like his. And he did say that he doesn't sleep, and I thought maybe that's why his eyes looked the way they did. But I'll still never forget his eyes. They were just like deep black pits with nothing in them, like no other color. And then I remember HBO put out the show about the vampires, like, what was that, 15 years ago? True Blood. I just remember when that show came out, the eyes of the vampires, like, damn, that reminds me of Michael Crow's eyes. His eyes look like just like that. I wasn't even thinking about his name back then, but Crows are all black. Yeah. Anyway. So she found the thing about Drexel and how it's listed as 131 years ago. So there it is right there, that 131 championship number. But then she made a good catch that from that day to the day that the news was really big, August 3rd, 230 days, also with Drexel University. Which is like 23, and he's dead 23 weeks also from his last game. Yeah. All right, yeah, great decode, Amy. Yeah. Literally just the same stuff over and over, man. That's why I want to debate the world on this subject. Who's going to win the debate? We have the same examples and same patterns. Oh, I'm like, the most dedicated person to making a video about me is a troll who's been watching every video since 2015 and only takes the sound bites of things that he can use to try and make me look bad. Imagine if we had somebody out there in the world doing that, just taking all the clips of all the things we've been right about and was that active and trying to build a channel. Just that's what's wrong with the world. Like, people are more motivated by hate and jealousy and envy than they are like doing the right things. So yeah, that guy is a true piece of trash, but he's also just the most motivated person to watch all of my videos and turn them into another video. But imagine like the video on me talking about death in '67. I mean, it could be a film that goes on for probably 3 straight days. It could probably be longer than that. All the years you've been here just talking about deaths in '67. I mean, it'd be really long. 67, 86. It would be so long. The police murder by numbers. We got another one. Investigation stopped by the police department on August 3rd. It's a suicide. Oh, you know what else? They said the 3400 block for that suicide. Suicide 34. Murder 34. Suicide of a young black man. Black 34. No. University of Texas, when they put up that statue of their first black athlete, they had to do it on the day leaving 34 days left in the year. November 27th. Thanks again, Logan Thomas. Appreciate it. Logan's always with the big tips. Thank you, Logan. And Gio, also very generous again. Philadelphia Phillies 60-50 with win today. 110th game. Yeah, interesting. Kind of like 6-5. I see what you're saying. So, appreciate the generosity, guys. We raised $30 in the stream, and imagine if we had 30 million people watching. We'd raise enough money to have a full team of 100 full-time employees doing it on a higher level. That's what we need, you guys. We need people. Imagine if there's 100. Imagine if there's somebody in every major city every day with some kind of just really nice type of broadcast, getting out the word about this and connecting people with the big news and the local news. I mean, it should be happening. It should be happening. There should be that kind of funding for this work, because this work has proven itself to be more than that important. So, yeah, I see. What is this Minnesota? Is MNU Minnesota? No, it's Kansas. Okay. Kansas, though. I'm about to look into this one too, man. Kansas City just won the Super Bowl. Yeah, you live by Drexel, man. Get out down there with the megaphone and get out the word. Get out the word. Cyber attacks disrupt hospitals in many states. Yeah, figures. All right, I got to get back on the writing grind, though. I got to make sure I hit all my writing deadlines for upcoming days that we talked about. And there just aren't enough hours in a day. But like I said, I'll also get back to doing a video nearly every day as well, because I know a lot of you guys like that. So, yeah, the tragedies, man, by the same old code, with the same old cover-up, and the same old secret societies. Thanks to everyone who hits the like and the share and helps get out the word so that we can end the kind of stuff we're talking about every day. It is a possibility. It's just going to take enough people. Until next time, True Secret.